I'm ignoring reality to insert my own truth, and I think that's very wrong-coded of me.
That is so very wrong-coded of you. I respect that. I will choose to live my life the way that I choose, and I choose that today is Women Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is, in fact, Wednesday, my dudes. It's so Women Wednesday, I'm going to turn off the loading screen immediately. And we're live, pal. Ah.
Good Saribot.
Saribot good. We love a good Saribot in this chat.
Welcome to Women Wednesday Tuesday.
It's totally Women Wednesday. Women Wednesday Special Edition Tuesday.
We were just so excited about women.
Real.
Viva!
Dun, 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 dun. We set off the fever so early. It is in fact Tuesday. See, my logic is, I think we can agree on this logic that since women are involved in this game, it is in fact Wednesday.
True.
They're
actually in a Wednesday time loop.
Correct. Yeah, it is once and always Wednesday. That sentence trailed off, but yes. Forever Wednesday. Endless Wednesday.
It's Tumen Tuesday.
Twibbin Tuesday. I love that. That is good. All right. Now, you remember where we left off last time?
We were trying so hard to unlock the flags.
So many flags. Endless Wednesdays by the pool. Hello, Chris. Are you ready? So we have unlocked the secrets that we were missing.
Yes,
we are
because
ready.
This visual novel's got hands.
It has got so hands. With Wednesdays on Tuesday and Pizza Tuesday on Wednesday, heck yes. We will all drop by twitch.tv/Crystal Galanis for some Pizza Tuesday vibes on Wednesday. The balance. Everything in balance as it should be. Now, if I load back in
and
here...
Koizumi's unlock was so mean.
Koizumi's unlock is unbelievably mean. In fact, I think we should do this first. That drops me out here. Now, if memory serves me correctly... I gotta do my... if memory serves me correctly, we had seen some new various recalls involving Koizumi in the nurse's office. The funny thing is that once we did those recalls, here's the mean part that we discovered. Am I in the right place? I am in the right place here, yeah. Here's the mean part. Look at this shit. Look at this shit.
It's in the special murder recalls.
It's in the special murder recalls.
Why would it be in the murder recall?
Why is it there? Now that it makes sense, like the description makes sense, but why did you hide it here? Now carrying a complete set of memories with regards to Koizumi, Ron has a second thought when it comes time to leave the infirmary and ultimately decides to stay behind and have a proper conversation with her teacher from the old days. Then the forced communisting, forced comrading. Then, oh god, yeah, not any weirder than the ruins that turn you communist.
Yeah. The ballrooms would be quaint and benign.
Honestly. And now that I'm thinking about this, I might be able to explain this lore-wise after I just got done complaining about why is it like this. Because the special recalls are the notebook saying, hey, this might be neat. When you offer the notebook blood, the notebook spits out these. And so the notebook
is it because she regrets not talking to Koizumi more after she's murdered?
Yeah.
Aw.
And I'm thinking about it here during the murder hours. She can do this after helping Koizumi apply medication, and specifically the timeline where Ron applies medication to Koizumi.
Aw, Ron.
Koizumi, blushing. How how's the audio? Does everything sound alright on your end, chat? Oh, that.
Huh?
Alright, Ron.
I don't know whether you prepared this recall for me to comfort me or to torment me. But the way everything ultimately turned out, what's the point of having a conversation with Koizumi-sensei again?
Now, if it's just the two of them, do you want me to take Koizumi?
Yeah.
Bury your voice a little.
But I really do want to talk with her again, even if it's just in the recalls.
Yeah.
Indo, could you give me and Koizumi a bit of privacy?
Koizumi, hearing those words, raised her head to look up at Ron. Mouth opened slightly, as if she was looking forward to something.
Because her injury was connected to me, so I'd like to chat with Koizumi a little more. Very well, then I'll go and ask the
Yeah. Tama agreed quickly after giving a bow, and after giving a bow, left the infirmary. Ibuki-san, what did you want to say to me? Koizumi put her feet on the floor as she fidgeted nervously with her hair, not at all excited to be alone with Ron. Ron sat down next to her, looking down at the floor. She counted the number of tiles on the floor, unwilling to be the first to speak. Ibuki-san? What's wrong?
And then she just starts crying.
Yeah, real.
Koizumi, what if you ultimately wound up becoming a teacher anyways? How do you feel about that?
Oh. Koizumi lowered her hand and turned her gaze away from Ron. So Ibuki-san doesn't think I'm strong enough to refuse my parents' demands of me either, then?
No!
Ron reached out in a panic and grabbed Koizumi by the shoulder, but Koizumi still refused to look at her.
I just meant, what if I just wanted to know how you felt about teaching itself.
I don't really feel anything about it. Ibuki-san, you should understand that the reason why I don't want to teach has nothing to do with the occupation itself.
I know, but, I'm sure you'd make a wonderful teacher. She's really stepping in it.
Yeah. Ron tried to smile as she spoke. To her, Hinata Koizumi was, after all, certainly an incomparable teacher. Even if that were the case, it'd still have been because I was forced to become a wonderful teacher, right? Ron shook her head furiously. She didn't want the time that she'd spent with Koizumi-sensei before to have been the result of coercion. Not to mention, there's no way I'd make a good teacher or anything. All I know how to do is force myself to accept the things I dislike and to do my job. That's it.
But I think... Koizumi, you're both gentle and beautiful. Mixed messages.
Yeah.
Know that any student would appreciate a teacher like that.
And by that I mean me. Koizumi shook her head. The fingers of her hands had knotted themselves together in a clump. I don't know. I don't really like kids, and there's no way I could ever see myself becoming a role model either. Am I supposed to teach all my students to be as gloomy as I am? Koizumi raised her hands and grasped Ron's wrist. Even more evident that the few tears flowing from her eyes was the disappointment Ron could see in them. Ibuki-san, to me, accepting my parents' request isn't as simple a matter as being forced to choose an occupation. This is an opportunity for me to learn to refuse my parents and to truly live the way I'd like to live. Why are you trying to make me accept it after all? If I fail this time, I'm sure that I'll find myself convincing myself to just accept things as they are, sooner or later, like a frog that's accepted the warming water of the cooking pot.
But Koizumi...
Look, Ron, sometimes the things that shaped your fond memories come about from bad things. That does not make you a bad person for taking comfort in those memories.
Yeah.
Honestly, you nailed that on the head. That's exactly why Ron's trying to do this, and it is coming off very badly, because it's very much not what Koizumi wants to hear. One of these days, my parents will tell me to marry some stranger and tell me that things will work out after you get to know each other a bit and the water will heat just a little bit more.
Yeah, that does happen.
And on that day, I'll truly lose the chance to change my life forever. Ibuki-san, I'm not strong enough that I can continue to struggle and fight even after I've already been trapped in the mire's grasp. Koizumi held Ron's wrists tightly and smiled through the tears on her face. I have to be able to grasp onto something and to escape this mire that I found myself in before that day comes. So please, speak no further on this. But the truth that Ron had lived through told her that in the end, Hinata Koizumi had still failed. Her life had sunken into the grasping mire and the warm water, just as Koizumi had said it would. Ron couldn't help her and hadn't thought to do anything for her, and had only used self-deceiving guilt to try and assuage those memories. And now this young Koizumi, full of possibility and hope, appearing before her, only reinforced the fact that her future was already unchangeable and carved in stone. And there's no need to worry, though, Ibuki-san. Koizumi let go and wiped away her tears as she smiled. As I said yesterday, after having a conversation with you, I'm full of confidence. I'm sure I'll be able to explain to my parents that I'm not willing to become a teacher. I'll definitely be able to say it properly this time. Ron had already heard those words yesterday. She did her best to nod.
I'm sure you can, yeah. You think that this is too cruel of a recall? Always making me look at situations that could have gone differently without actually letting me touch the timeline itself. I don't want to look at this anymore. I only want to observe those recalls which have the possibility of making a difference for the present situation, please.
And speaking of...
That did not help her.
Yeah, that made things worse. Speaking of matters that might finally have a chance to influence the present situation, if this does not unlock, agree to meet. We can agree to meet.
Ooh.
Finally. Ron furrowed her eyebrows. She wondered why Koizumi couldn't just hand whatever the thing was over immediately, rather than make her wait. But Ron supposed that it'd be too pushy a man to make of Koizumi. If at all possible, she wanted to be gentle with Koizumi.
All right, see you then. Take care, Ibuki-san.
Hinata invited you to meet up.
Yeah. Now that I remember how she took care of me before as a teacher, I don't know how to face the current her. Miss Sakura, what should I do? Can I make up for my mistakes with Koizumi-sensei, with the present Koizumi?
In reality, I suppose if her mistakes are not being able to protect or stand up for Koizumi, then really, she should go in hard on hell yeah. Go give your parents the what, even if it won't change anything. Ann herself wished she had an answer for the hardball question that Ron had just tossed at her. I think that Koizumi's very easy to talk to. I'm sure you don't need to feel any pressure at all, Ron.
Looks like Koizumi-sensei didn't tell Miss Sakura about the whole confession thing. Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Okay. I'll try that, I guess.
She really doesn't want to get in the way of that. Then that'll be it for now. I've got my language class tomorrow, and I'd like to head back and prepare for it.
Okay. See you at dinner in a bit then, Miss Sakura.
Oh, Koizumi.
At the time, I couldn't find the courage to accept Koizumi-sensei's invitation. Let's see what she wanted to say to me now. Hope it's not another painful recall.
By the light of the dormitory building, Ron could see Koizumi standing a little distance away from the door. This made it so that she couldn't see the expression on Koizumi's face.
It's a bit cold out. Let's talk quickly and get back inside.
That was what Ron thought as she quickly stepped at Koizumi's side.
Koizumi. Ibuki-san, sorry for troubling you with a meeting like this. It's fine. So, what did you want to give me? I want to apologize to you first, Ibuki-san. I've made a lot of trouble for you these past few days.
Koizumi made a deep bow towards Ron.
What do you mean, made a lot of trouble? Why this all of a sudden?
Despite her answer, Ron had already guessed what Koizumi was planning to say when she heard Koizumi's words. It gave her a sense of relief.
I've been too self-absorbed while I've been with you, and I've disregarded the relationship between you and Sakura-san, ignoring your own will in these matters.
Aw.
But Koizumi-sensei was only showing her concern for me. I owe her more than she does me.
Pre-memory, Ron would not be thinking this.
Yeah. And I even said a single thing in her defense after Koizumi-sensei left the school, or if I'd been able to give a more useful suggestion to her while we were speaking in private. Very well, let's conclude this whole affair here then. In a way, the decision to give up on pursuing me is also a decision you made on your own will as well.
Koizumi stared with wide eyes, not expecting Ron to finish her sentence for her. Actually, Ibuki-san, I was thinking of proposing to both you and Miss Sakura.
You really are smart, Ibuki-san. But there's one last thing I'd like to give you. These hands. What could it possibly be? I have no idea. Whether I'm going to rely on Ibuki-san to transform myself or not, I've really fallen for you. I'm sorry.
Koizumi raised her head, took a step forward, and pulled Ron by her shoulders toward herself. Oh no. Wait.
Oh, what?
Oh! Before Ron could finish the rest of her sentence, Koizumi's lips had already touched themselves to hers. Ron immediately raised her hands to push Koizumi away. When Ron's hands reached Koizumi's shoulder, she found that she couldn't make herself actually apply any force. Instead, she gently embraced Koizumi. Oh.
Don't do that!
Oh.
I guess we can leave it like this for now, Koizumi-sensei. We've got all flavors of toxic Yuri here.
All of them. She hoped that Koizumi would be able to gain some kind of resolve from this, something that sustained the path she would take in her future life. Though the way things were now, what meaning did that have? Ron could feel Koizumi's lips trembling, so she gently pushed against her shoulders.
Enough. Something just like this isn't enough. This isn't enough to help Koizumi-sensei. Not by itself. There's got to be something I can say to her.
Oh? Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Koizumi wiped her tears as she tried to turn and flee, but Ron instantly seized her by the wrist.
Ibuki-san? Koizumi, it can't end like this. You can't solve your problems just like this. But I don't know how to help you. I only became how I am now, thanks to Miss Sakura's help. And my not moms,
Yeah,
who I love very much.
correct. Big sis and big sis.
Love them.
Love them.
Nothing bad happened to them.
Nothing bad at all. I'm not gonna show that CG. Except I will. I will, and then we'll pretend we do not see it. So, and now Hinata's just oh, so what you're saying is that I should confess to Miss Sakura too.
Miss Sakura's got two hands.
Yeah.
I could become the person I wanted to be, only because I had the person I loved by my side.
Yeah. Toxic Yuri, you take 1/16 of your health is damaged, then 1/8, then 3/16. Oh no. Ron blinked her eyes furiously, trying not to let the tears spill.
Can't become the person who can help you change because I don't have that kind of power, but so you should.
But a kiss from your GF makes the damage seem a turn, yes! Ron's words gradually became incoherent. She was furiously trying to imagine what Ann Sakura would say in a situation like this, but she couldn't come up with anything.
My starting point here is myself, not Koizumi-sensei, and that's why I don't actually know how to help her. She's not merely helpless and passive, but rather there's a fundamental meaning to existence that she's missing. That's why she doesn't have the strength to reject the demands that others make of her. But the me from before could never have thought of these things, and me of the present no longer has the opportunity to help her. Just how things are sometimes. Eh? I understand, Ibuki-san.
From Koizumi's perspective, Ron was simply sincerely worrying that she couldn't follow through on her initial surge of determination. She turned around and held Ron's hand.
You've already helped me more than enough. I'm truly glad that I fell for you, and I'm a little jealous of Sakura-san now.
Aww. Smiling, she slowly released Ron's hands.
Oh, I'm trying to say something that can help you because I'm feeling guilty. It's all for me, not for you. It's me. I'm not as great as you're making me out to be, as you're making out with me to be.
Real. Koizumi wiped the tears from the corners of Ron's eyes and shook her head.
And just treat it all as the fanciful whims of a love-struck girl, I suppose. Ibuki-san, you don't need to worry about doing anything for me anymore.
Oh.
It's getting cold outside. Go back inside, okay? Okay. Why make me encounter something like this again? So I can experience being helpless to do anything for Koizumi-sensei a second time?
Oh.
Or is this a way of saying that if I change Koizumi-sensei here, then her in the outside world will change accordingly as well?
If true, that would be.
And nothing bad happens to our moms again.
Correct. Ron and Koizumi returned to the dormitory. As Ron raised her head and saw the stars brighten the night sky, Ron decided to abandon the naive thoughts she was holding on to in her heart.
So, in the end, it's just one more recall, reminding me that no matter what I do, it's pointless.
Really, the only thing reminding her of that is the fact that she remembers the older Koizumi-sensei.
It's real rough for her.
Real.
Please, no more of this, I'm begging you.
Got any more of them special recalls hanging around? Nope. Alright, we need to go back and do Tama's now. So in order to do that, did it log this as investigated already? It might have? Question mark?
Right, it said on Reddit that we had to go through all the explore options, but it turns out there was a flag in investigation.
Right.
I love to spread misinformation on the internet. That's why today is Wednesday.
Honestly.
Indo.
A handful of books were stacked neatly atop one of the library's tables. Tama Indo had been engrossed in one of them. When she heard the sound of Ron's voice, she immediately raised her head, a smile filling her face.
I hope I'm not interrupting you. Oh, no, Ibuki-san. I was just about to take a break. It's the first time I've seen you in the library by yourself.
Ron sat down next to Tama and saw that she had opened a notebook in front of herself and seemed to be writing something in it.
I feel like I've realized many things since I've talked to Asakura-san. I used to think that following Asakura-san around everywhere would be the best for her, but now I've come to understand that maybe the best thing for us is to spend some time by ourselves, right?
Good and real and healthy distance.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Recall. When your opponent activates a monster effect, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. Also, your opponent draws one card. Well, Dark, I discard effect. I discard effect Veiler to negate that effect. And both opponents take 3 mental damage. Oh no!
I mean, I don't think that's the real issue. Sakura would like nothing more than to swaddle the two of you up all nice and tight together in the same blanket each night, right? Is that so?
But you have to take
He's getting ideas.
You have to take the initiative, Tama. Tama blinked her big eyes again.
I do sleep together with Asakura-san frequently. You're an actual criminal. That's not the first time Ron said that.
Honestly.
Oh, you think that spending some time apart from her might result in a change to your relationship? That's right. Plus, I want to write down some things to show Asakura-san. I have a lot of things I want to tell her. Oh, okay. So long as I can confirm you're not going to do anything to me. Oh yeah, this was about when we lied to her.
Oh.
No vivisection. Even if you can't be as close with Asakura as you used to be before, I think that everything worked out for the better in the end.
I think I loaded the wrong branch point. But that's okay, we'll finish this because this is still cute.
It is cute. At least now Asakura is willing to speak her true feelings to you, now. Only from now on can the relationship between you two start to make proper progress now.
Ron felt like she was talking too much, so she reached out and gave Indo's hairbun a poke to try to alleviate the awkwardness. Wiggle, wiggle.
I understand, Ibuki-san. Thank you. No need to thank me. After all...
Tama cocked her head in confusion, waiting for Ron to finish speaking in that cute puppy-like way. Ron thought to herself about her memories of Asakura and her knowledge of the original time period from which Indo hailed, and decided to give up on the cliché she was about to speak, choosing something else instead.
After all, these are all choices you've made for yourselves.
Okay. Yes, it's definitely the part. I definitely loaded the wrong one. Do you remember? Not this. Exploration recall. There's Tama. This is the Tama we need.
Tama time.
Tama time.
Indo's probably not paying much attention to the case at all right now. Let's go visit her.
It is in fact Tama time, which is always a peak time. It is Tama Tuesday. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. As soon as Ron entered the library, Tama set down the pen in her hand, raised her head, and called Ron's name out.
Ibuki-san. You sure look lively, Indo. You don't seem at all like someone who was a corpse just a day ago. Ibuki-san, don't you know by now? If someone survived after dying, then they'll go right back to being perfectly healthy.
Real.
No trauma involved. Are my jokes that hard to understand? Yeah, you're right.
I chuckled, Ron. You're doing all right. Ron took a seat next to Tama. People die when they are killed. Until you solve their murder, Red, then they come back to life. Such is the way of this place. Ron took a seat next to Tama.
Are you doing homework? Oh, no, I'm writing some things for Asakura-san to see later. There's lots of things I want to tell her. Asakura, you actual criminal.
Ron nodded. She felt like this method of communication suited Tama and Asakura quite well.
I feel a bit bad about not helping with Koizumi-san since she's been killed and all.
Koizumi-san kissed us, went inside, and then heckin' died.
Rip.
Rip. F in the chat for Koizumi. Tama looked down at her pen and the paper just in front of her.
Right now, focused all my heart and soul on this task and don't have any attention left to spare on other things.
Mood, Tama.
That's fine. I'm sure Koizumi will understand.
Koizumi will forgive you anyways because she's Koizumi. And she's still working on that. Ron's gaze passed over to Tama's unprotected letter, to the open book next to it. She reached out and checked the title of the book. It was Fyodor Dostoevsky's...
Dostoevsky.
Dostoevsky. Oh, it's there. It was Fyodor Dostoevsky's Notes from Underground.
Oh, this book again? Still haven't finished reading it? Oh, no, I finished it a long time ago. I'm just using it as a reference right now.
When you put the philosophy quotes in your love letters.
If I recall correct, Dostoevsky's pretty depressing, so yeah, I think Asakura will appreciate that.
Yeah, honestly. And we do see her reading it afterwards.
He loves it.
Real.
This book conveys its thoughts and expresses its emotions is excellent. I'm trying to make something for Asakura-san that's just like that. That's why Asakura likes you so much.
Tama's words left Ron utterly confounded.
Oh, thank goodness the young miss reading right. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to convey all the things I want to say to Asakura-san now. Before, when I recalled my memories about Koizumi-sensei and Asakura, it was because the things they said or the actions they took intersected with my memories of them.
You see, Dark, the reason it works right here is because Asakura is a depression elemental, so Dostoevsky is Asakura's love language.
True. Which is to say, the more they talk about themselves, the more likely it is that they'll cause me to regain some of my lost memories.
And here's the key.
Now let's try asking into a few more things. I'm pretty curious about how exactly it's possible for me to be interacting with a person from the Taisho era myself. You know, your young mistress, what was her name? Can you tell me her full name if you don't mind? Of course, her name was Yanagiwara Shirahara.
Yanagiwara Shirahara. After hearing that name, Ron felt like her brain had taken a blow, but the effect only lasted for a short while.
I feel like I've heard that name, Yanagiwara Shirahara, somewhere before, but why didn't it cause a full flood of memories? Am I still missing something? At the time, I didn't know why the young mistress spent so much effort teaching me my letters, but now I truly understand and appreciate what she did for me.
Ron just sort of nodded along. All she wanted to do right now is figure out the significance of this Yanagiwara person's name.
Indo, could you tell me a bit more about your young mistress? Of course, but could we do so later? Right now, I really want to concentrate on this letter. Oh, sure, then until next time.
Ron rose, and Tama stood up as well. After she accompanied Ron all the way to the door, she lightly bowed before closing the library door. My privacy! Alright, so we can bail here.
I wonder how Asakura would feel walking in on Tama talking about her ex.
Ooh. Alright, so... we did see Tama around too.
Mm-hmm.
We will see Tama round 2 again, because it is in fact Tama time. Everybody's happy today. Nothing bad happened to anyone ever. Fishing in the background. Aw.
Nice. Comfy cozy.
Heck yeah. When Ron returned to the first floor of the dormitory, she didn't see Tama anywhere, so she headed right to the library. Unsurprisingly, that was exactly where she found Tama.
Ibuki-san, how'd the situation with Take-san and the rest turn out?
It certainly turned out.
Well, they calmed down more or less, but the situation still hasn't been resolved.
My not moms are fighting. Tama nodded, rubbing her hands against each other incessantly.
I wanted to stay there, but I didn't know what to say, and all I could do was watch helplessly, just shivering puppy eyes.
Aww.
After that, Yorino-san came back, and when Sakura-san explained everything to her, she told me that I didn't need to wait around there. And are we still going with the Yorino as Ron's big sister theory?
Honestly, yeah. I'm still vibing with that.
I'm kind of curious how that works because, did Miho and Aya adopt 2 children? And from where?
Like, is there a gap in Ron's life that we don't know about? We know that Ron was born to
Miho's cousin.
Yeah, Miho's cousin. And a foreign rich asshole who left. Miho's cousin gave up Ron because she felt understood.
No, I think it's that Miho's cousin was going abroad with that guy and decided that the two of them don't really want to take care of Ron anymore.
Right.
Having a kid harshes their vibe.
And it was Miho who tried to break that to Ron, like soften that blow, but Ron knew anyways.
Yeah.
Yona was worried that Indo would feel awkward just standing there. Whoa.
Oh, sorry. Yona was worried that Indo would feel awkward just standing there, huh? My notebook thinks so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yona was right. I was almost done with my letter anyway, so I came to the library.
Tama picked up a stack of letter paper and handed it to Ron.
Could you take a look at it for me, Ibuki-san? Wait, why are you making me read your letters? I thought they were for Asakura. You have the same vibe.
Right.
I've written my feelings, questions, and thoughts down in here, just like in Notes from Underground. Asakura-san's very smart, so once she's finished reading these, she'll surely be able to give me an answer and convey to me her thoughts as well. And all of these things I'm trying to express reflect Asakura-san's presence in my life as well. Okay, but that just makes me more confused why you want me to read them, then. Vibes!
Vibes, yeah.
I was able to find the resolve to write these because you helped me, Ibuki-san.
Vibes, and also I want you to praise me and pat my head.
Please, she deserves so many head pats.
Real.
Not to mention, the letter is yet incomplete. I feel that it's still missing something very important. I can't come to a decisive conclusion from the contents of my letter, so I'd like you to offer some suggestions, Ibuki-san.
Just group head pats for Tama-chan. Hey, how sapphic is the story today? Well, we've already been kissed by the high school incarnation of our teacher. And yeah. We are still very sad.
Ron just never has a good time.
Honestly. Ron nodded and began looking through the pages. The contents were very close to what she'd expected. The letter was packed with abstruse philosophy. After seeing notes from Underground, she figured Tama would have written something like this.
Man, I'm absolute garbage with this stuff. Yanagiwara Shirahane. Where have I heard that name before? Sorry, Tama. I can't really give you much in the way of advice. But it looks pretty complete as far as I can tell. If you need to distill it down into some kind of thesis, I think you might have to rely on your own thinking. I can't help you here.
Damn it, Jim, I'm a detective, not a philosopher. Tama shook her head and took the letter back.
It's fine, Ibuki-san. You've already helped me a lot, just by saying that. Thank you. Dinner time's almost here. You should bring your letter and come back with me. Speaking of which, just where has Asakura run off to? She's not already dead, is she?
I think she's pretty close. Asakura's off to the pool to say, Hey, you know your murder plan is shit. Watch this. Just flings herself in the water and drowns. Ripperoni in the chat. So that's good. Nothing more to see here. Now we go to the branch recall. The strange sound really does like if we didn't up our investigation and find the strange sound, then Sai would have killed Aya. And I know this because I tested it out on my own and have the CG in the gallery to prove it. We will show you that later. Stick around, stay tuned. We had enough to unlock Aya and Miho's memories, where we found our not moms. And now, Tama time. We should have enough to remember Tama's memories.
Ooh,
Everything before Ron begins to twist and distort before finally fading out into infinite darkness.
it's taken 1,000 years.
We are finally here. In 1923, at the end of August, the great Yanagiwara family suffered a massive earthquake on the way to Gunma Prefecture. Like a pliant rope, the firm railroad was twisted and shredded by the swollen earth, and the train that the Yanagiwara the train that the Yanagiwara clan was riding in was flung down the cliffs and crushed into scrap metal by the other train cars. Jesus.
Oof.
Tama Indo, who had accompanied them on this trip, had wanted to simply wait there. Then and there for death to descend. She discovered the eldest daughter of the Yanagiwara family, Shirahara Yanagiwara, was trapped in the deepest recesses of the twisted rail car. Tama, who'd served the Yanagiwara clan with her parents since she was young, had never spoken with this young lady before. But when she saw Shirahana's slack-jawed and tearful visage, it enkindled in her the determination to survive. She struggled to her feet, kicked a corpse off from atop her legs, ripped apart the remains that obstructed her path, and using some other deceased victim's arm, protected herself from and crowbarred open
Tama?
the razor-sharp shrapnel that the steel doors had been twisted into. Quinn!
He used the corpse's arm as a crowbar?
Hardcore! God dang!
Jesus Christ, Granny?
Tama Indo saved Shirahana Yanagiwara from the wreckage of the train and supported her all the way until they reached an inhabited settlement. After that, Tama pawned the jewelry that her mother had left her and rented a house in the village with the money that she'd saved up from working for many years.
The little kanji says a dog for the Indo part of Tama Indo.
Oh, little Tama, hard at work. That's precious. After that, to maintain their lifestyle, she worked odd jobs wherever there was a need for an extra pair of hands in the village. With her first paycheck, she bought pen and paper to let Shirahara write a letter to her family's main residence in Yokohama. But whether it was because
she's flitting around.
Whether it was because the main residence had been turned to ruins by the earthquake as well, because the couriers were unable to successfully deliver the message after such a terrible disaster, the letter disappeared tracelessly. Shirahana Yanagiwara spent her days in sorrow after that, but in stark contrast, Tama Indo only knew how to live as a servant, found herself full of energy and vitality.
At least Tama's having a good time.
Yeah, I'm here to serve, my lady. I'm unable to find a connection to the world due to the massive changes to her life. Shirahana resorted to reckless acts of self-endangerment as a way to stimulate herself.
Oh.
She even attempted to kill herself multiple times, though all of those attempts were caught and stopped by Tama.
Oh.
No wonder Tama is so attracted to Sakura.
She's got a type.
Yeah, and her type is suicidal ideation.
Worried about her.
Worried about her. After many years, Shirahana had finally come to terms with the reality of her situation and abandoned her hopes of returning to her previous life. She began considering how she could repay Tama's generosity. Shirahana knew that, if she were to vanish, Tama would very likely find herself directionless and adrift, so she decided she would try to expand Tama's world. Thus, she decided that she would teach Tama Indo to read. She believed that literacy would cause Tama to gain the faculties of independent thought. Only by learning to think could one begin to possess self-actualization and begin to live for their own sake. After the frail Shirahana eventually passed from an illness, Tama was left all by herself. She strongly felt that the meaning of her existence had been to take care of Shirahana, that in doing so she could experience and revel in the pleasure of existence.
Oh, the yearning.
Oh. Oh. And because of this, she understood the meaning behind the young mistress's choice to teach herself to read and write. Tama Indo began to write a manuscript that detailed her philosophy and the difficult life she'd led for the past few decades. In her late years, Tama Indo passed her last moments of life in Yokohama. The manuscript was ultimately collated by others into a novel, which was formally published under the name of Shirahana Yanagiwara.
Oh.
Ibuki closed the book named Memories of the Kanto Earthquake. She found herself quite attracted to the ideals within the book. So treasuring another person was something that could eventually be transformed into a deeper and weightier philosophy. That granted more meaning than to her own obsession with Ann Sakura. Just as she'd hoped it would. Reading to justify my beliefs.
Well, both I and Ron have updated the profile.
Oh boy, oh boy. I have done some updates here, and so has Ron. Interesting. I'm currently in the midst of a recall. Okay, very good.
No, your letter. Yes, Ibuki-san? She can sense the deep-seated similarities between Asakura and Shirahana Yanagiwara. That's why she's so concerned about Asakura. Asakura and her young mistress still have fundamental differences. Like, I don't think that Asakura's chronically ill.
Right.
Why does my head still hurt so intensely? Much more than it did any of the previous times.
Chronically ill, physically at least.
Even though the memories have already been restored, it still hurts so much. Something's wrong. What does that mean? Are Indo's memories somehow different in nature from those of that of Koizumi-sensei and Asakura's?
What does this mean? What? You can't just end that there.
And if true.
What does that mean? What does this mean? Branch recall.
What did she mean by this?
Yeah. Huh.
Well, guess I won't question it.
Yeah, I guess we got Tama's memories. Do it time to proceed to chapter 3?
Yahoo!
Enter the recall? Well, here's what we're gonna do.
Hi, Koizumi.
Oh, hi, Koizumi. Sorry, I forgot. That was
Don't mind us, Koizumi.
That was a terrible choice, and honestly, fair. All right, let's bye, Koizumi. Bye, Koizumi. Oh no, I'm still in the dead. All right, bye. Now we have a save point updated. Enter the recall. Don't enter the recall. Continue the game. Mysterious room. This I just saw like 1 or 2 scenes of. I showed you. So
I am so excited.
Yes. This is gonna be very interesting. Just hanging out. Oh no, Chris. Oh,
as
no.
girls do.
As they do. Yeah, just girls being girls. Happy birthday, Ann Sakura. After blowing the candle out, I turned the desk lamp next to the reading table on. A rectangular piece of black forest cake that had already been cut into 3 pieces was waiting there, glowing under the lamplight. Oh, cake. This is interesting. I'm currently in the midst of a recall. We can't even see the journal. It's pretty late. Let's only have a single piece. Anyway, here's Ann Sakura in gold and black.
Well, and normal.
And normal. This is normal Ann Sakura. This is Ann Sakura in Ibuki Ran's school uniform. We are in an Ann...
Is this reality?
Good question. Normal Sakura. It could be flashback Sakura. As I set the candle down with one hand, I flicked my phone screen open with the other and sent appreciative responses to all my classmates who'd messaged me their well wishes for my birthday. Ever since my parents had passed away of natural causes, I'd grown used to celebrating my birthday on my own. There wasn't much of a reason for it. I just felt like it suited me more this way. I licked the bits of chocolate left on the fork, letting the familiar sweetness spread throughout my mouth. Ever since I'd moved here at the age of 5, I'd always have a Black Forest cake from the local store on my birthday. She knows how to live. Yeah.
Yummy.
Hang on. Can I do this, Phil? Allow. I had to allow that. Yeah. But real and correct, Chris. Today was the 13th time I'd gotten to enjoy this private pleasure, which was to say that, as of today, I was 17, and halfway through the course of my life. So, flashback.
A midlife crisis at 17 does sound correct nowadays.
Honestly real, though. Yeah. So if we're assuming that this school life of mutual killing brought Ron back to high school age in high school uniform and aged everyone back to high school age, then this has to be a flashback, right?
Mm-hmm. Wait, if this is Ann having a recall and she says that she was halfway through her life at this point, then does that mean that maybe Ron is also in her 30s?
Ooh.
Is that what it means?
Ron.
Is this like a Ron in her...
Halfway through the course of my life. That's a scary thought.
Ron said that she's been searching for Sakura for 4 years, but...
Yeah.
My mind just keeps getting weird.
Yeah. The halfway through the course of my life thing is very, very curious. I lean back in my chair, looking toward my bottle of micrometeorites, but I couldn't imagine giving the bottle to anybody, the way my mother had done before.
Why they look like skulls?
Yeah, real though. Oh, menu is open. Let's see how things play out, I guess. Good.
Good morning, Ann! I forgot to tell you yesterday, so I'm making up for it now. Happy birthday!
As she spoke, she sat down at the desk ahead of me. Thanks. Right, last time you said you wanted to go traveling in Malaysia over the break, right?
Did I ever mention that to you? Oh, actually, Ann, you've seen the news from yesterday as well, right? A pilot on the Japan-Malaysia airline routes come down with honeycomb and Misha syndrome as what? What in the Caligula?
The what? Hello? She made a big show out of drooping in disappointment. After all, because of this, the airline would surely cancel those flights, and that meant that if she still wanted to go to Malaysia, she'd have to go through a lot of trouble to change planes.
Thankfully, when the pilot lost consciousness, the plane was over the ocean. And before the plane completely crashed, he was able to regain consciousness and force a controlled water landing, just like they did in New York that one time.
Real? Captain Sully, the boy. Thankfully, no one died, but it's gonna ruin my trip. But no one died, so I can gripe about it, alright. I nodded. The rain that the mother of humanity had called down to protect humankind had created significant problems for many parts of modern society. Who knew when she'd cease her actions and accept that humanity could face the things that it could not understand?
Ann, what does that mean?
Just normal school day conversation. The rain the mother of humanity had called down. That's been mentioned by Ronnie Kubi and not Sakura. In their
Do you think that's confirmation that Ronnie Kubi is Sakura in some form?
Oh, that would be a really unique form of self-cest.
Oh yeah.
I had to chew on that word.
That's what she meant when she told Ron that they'll be together forever.
Real of her. So, Mother of Humanity has called down the rains.
God bless the rains, but we don't seem to have had anybody here come down with honeycomb amnesia yet. If we have to catch it, I hope I catch it while we're in class, so I can just wake up and find that classes are already over.
See, honeycomb amnesia is when you turn into the little furball demon from the honeycomb cereal commercials.
Oh no!
And bounce around a little bit, and then you come to and you don't remember it at all, and then hence the amnesia part. Me want honeycomb!
Oh, that is non-lethal.
Yeah. Unless you're flying a plane full of 100 people, then it's a bit more concerning.
That old joke of, I hope I die like my grandpa, peacefully in his sleep, not screaming like the passengers in his bus.
Well, what I remember, only 5% of people in the whole world have gotten honeycomb amnesia so far. If we're lucky, we probably won't catch it during our lifetimes.
Oh, really? You sure do know a lot of interesting facts, Ron.
They talk about it on the television pretty frequently. I gave her a pat on the shoulder as if to commiserate with her, and she started laughing with me. Oh ho. Yesterday she had some late-night fun with someone from the class across the hall before she snuck back home, did she now? Ann, can you read minds? Or,
I think she can read mine. Is that why she understood Ron so well?
Oh. That is... Yeah, that would certainly help. I was going to say, either that or she's got a very strong Yuri detector. I held my chin and considered teasing her about it before class started. Suddenly, however, a loud electronic buzzing erupted from the windows, tearing at my ears. Same time, a dense rain began to fall. Oh no, not again. Oh. Normal
Gelatinous
things.
cube.
Gelatinous cube. I turned to look outside the window. A giant green gelatinous object was lying on the school building and seemed to be slowly moving in the direction of the city. For some reason, its surface seemed to diffract the light, and blurry waves of color seemed to radiate from it.
What is that?
Looks like you're about to get what you wished for. I watched her try to support herself with her elbows, her head heavy and her eyes slowly shutting. In a few seconds, she lost consciousness, and I quickly grabbed her to make sure she didn't collapse to the ground. The other students in the class fell to the floor as well, one by one. As they intermittently fell to the ground with heavy thuds, I tensed my shoulders in sympathy. They probably had to have a lot of new bruises waiting for them once they woke up. I helped settle my classmate into a comfortable position at her desk, then performed a lazy stretch, listening to the sounds of the distant explosions and the alarms going off from all sorts of vehicles. What is this world? This is the high point. Oh no. This is the high point of the morning rush hour. A lot of car accidents have probably just taken place. There likely weren't many drivers who got enough warning to be able to brake their cars. I guess we'll see how many of them were willing
Mother of Humanity?
I guess we'll see how many of them were willing to shell out for emergency braking countermeasures against honeycomb amnesia syndrome. Mother of Humanity? What?
I don't think this is protecting humanity very much right now.
Honestly, though, I feel it. I too wish it would start raining and I would just pass out and lose a few days.
It's a nice surprise nap.
Yeah, just surprise nap time, and then suddenly it's next Friday or something. I took out my phone and carefully tiptoed out of the classroom, trying not to step on any of the students who were sleeping all over the floor. Like one of those things in the Persona game where you end a day and it skips forward a week. That feeling of the calendar zooming by. I just want that, to be real. Though this was my first time personally experiencing the mother's rains myself. For a moment, I didn't know what to do. After all, I'd only ever been in the position of an observer before. But I quickly decided to visit the roof of the school, since I'd heard that only humans and objects created by humans got wet in rains. I walked about in the rains. The raindrops would avoid me, as though the Mother of Humanity didn't like the cut of my jib for whatever reason.
Oh, but at the end of the prologue, when Ann and Ron were out in the rain, both of them got soaked.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What's that mean? She's so petty. I thought about the ridiculous expression that the Mother of Humanity's face would make when she grew irritated. I couldn't help but laugh out loud and walk just a little bit faster.
He has a face?
The classroom was already quite close to the stairs leading to the roof. It only took me a few minutes to traverse the dead silent corridors and arrive at the door to the roof. Who or what are you, Ann Sakura? Outside the doors was the heavy sound of rain. That was something that the stilling rains had in common with the natural sounds of rainfall that I loved so much. This rain sure sounds like rain. I pushed the handle down and opened the creaking door. A bleak gray cloudscape filled my eyes, hanging so low in the sky that it looked like it was about to fall to the earth. The raindrops were so dense that they seemed to blanket the whole world in a translucent curtain. Yep, I definitely loved watching the rain. I could feel my mood improving already, and the most interesting thing was yet to come. I stuck my hand into the rain with anticipation, and just as expected, the raindrops circumvented my hand. So what happened to my clothes, then? Whoa. I extended my arm further, letting the sleeve of my shirt enter the rain as well. The raindrops, whose trajectories had originally been perfectly straight, now wriggled like frightened caterpillars as they maintained a slight distance from my hand. The results were the same as before. The heavy sounds of rain in the distance hear someone yelling, Jason! Jason! John!
John!
And then he proceeds to take 5 pisses. Consecutively.
Without washing his hands.
Without washing his hands. And the results were the same as before. Apparently the Mother of Humanity didn't want anything to do with my clothes either, and the rain traced pristine arcs in the air as it dodged me. Get the fuck away from me. The Mother of Humanity's little bugs sure are clever. After the success of the experiment, I abandoned all my concerns and dashed into the rain. After all, everybody in the city besides me was in the midst of a dream anyways. I spread my arms, spinning in the rain, and hopped my way forward as the rain dodged even my immaculately maintained hair. She's so proud. I definitely couldn't let anybody who recognized me see me like this. It took me about a dozen seconds of wild flailing before I grew bored. I ceased my movements, thinking that perhaps I'd head to the other side of the roof and see what the big green ooze thing was up to. When I turned around, I froze and my cheeks flushed red. Oh, because there was a female student standing on the edge of the rooftop fence, watching me. She'd probably seen my entire wild performance just now. But something wasn't quite right. Watching her, I felt a sense of dissonance, but at the same time, she pulled at me somehow. It was an attraction so powerful that I even experienced a state of altered perception, where everything around us had completely disappeared, leaving just me and her in a pure white world. I simply raised my hand.
First sight?
I could pull her into my embrace, but took a single step, I could be right beside her, my breath close enough to touch her cheek, and then I could begin to get to know her in a deeper and more intimate way than any human being could ever approach. Now, this attraction wasn't born of any sort of emotion. Rather, it was more like I felt the urge to approach her on an instinctive level. Yeah, this is a hell of a first sighting. So I followed my instincts because I'd always done so. I stood up straight and walked toward her. With my usual refined gait, I came closer and closer. When I was close enough to see her expression, I found I didn't dare come any closer, because she was clearly completely awake and staring straight at me, despite being completely soaked by the rain. Ah, now I understood where my attraction to her was coming from. I took a few steps forward until I stood before her. I stretched out my hand and prepared to introduce myself. Oh, hello, beloved child of the Mother of Humanity. My name is Ann Sakura. From your perspective, I suppose you could call me an extraterrestrial.
Literally an alien?
Wild. The beloved child's hair was drenched by rainwater and dangled in wet strands all over her face, making it hard for me to read her expression. At the same time, I was worried that the sound of the rain was also covering up my voice. She gave no answer to my greeting and turned as though to leave, so I immediately rushed in close and grabbed her wrist. After hesitating half a second, I chose not to use recall on her.
Oh, so she could use recall without a notebook and just on any person, casually, no cost?
So that's her. So she wasn't reading minds. She was just casually recalling people.
Just for kicks.
Just for kicks.
Well,
6.
a voyeurism.
Yeah. I can't really 6. Okay, these are our stats.
Yeah, those are all stats.
Yeah, these are Ron's stats in here. With other people, touching them and then using recall to quickly view their entire life history was one of the greatest little pleasures of my existence. I didn't want to do such a thing to her, though. After I grabbed
Just
her
a little
wrist...
voyeurism.
Yeah, just a little peek for kicks and giggles. After I grabbed her wrist, she tried to pull away and began struggling against me. Her hair shook with her movements, allowing me to see a rain-stained face. Ron Ibuki? I couldn't help but exclaim her name in surprise. Ron Ibuki had become infamous across the school as soon as she transferred in. There were rumors that she was from another country and that she wasn't mentally well. I'd had the chance to interact with her a few times before this, and I hadn't detected anything extraordinary in her. I let go of her wrist, and Ron immediately pulled her hand to her chest and stared nervously at me, shuffling her feet and starting to shy away from me. So that's how it is. The previous beloved child must have perished then. What even is the Mother of Humanity trying to accomplish with all this?
So it's a status that transfers when the last one dies.
Interesting.
Really worrying.
Let's get back inside for now. I'd be ashamed of myself if I just let you sit outside in the rain by yourself. Ron Ibuki remained silent, turning to look in the gelatinous green shape's direction. Don't worry about that big thing. I just used my recall on it. It's just a big clump of solidified subsonic vibrations. It'll disappear on its own in a few hours.
It's just a little guy.
Just a funky little dude. Just have a little roll. Rolling around at the speed of slime. He's got places to go and he'll get there in a few hours. I tried taking Ron Ibuki's hand again. This time, she didn't resist me.
Do you understand these things?
I do. From the perspective of the mother of humanity, I am the exact same as that thing.
And here I thought only I could see them. Oh, the fish and the flowers crawling over my arm. Can you see those too?
Oh, that's fucked up. I looked down. Clearly there was nothing on Ron's arm. It was only now that I remembered that, according to the rumors, part of Ron Ibuki's mental illness was that she'd occasionally shout and scream in the middle of class and start speaking nonsense. It seemed like she suffered from a mental illness that caused her to hallucinate. No matter what answer I gave her, it would probably end poorly. I don't see them. They're your hallucinations.
Really blunt about it.
Oh no.
So the aliens and stuff that Ron mentioned before, they're not part of her hallucinations, but she does still experience hallucinations on top of them.
It's so the beloved child of humanity stuff seems just like an extra debuff stacked on top of her existing mental illness.
Why did the Mother of Humanity do this?
It's like, no, I don't want your love. I have my adopted
Ron
moms.
doesn't seem very beloved right now.
Yeah, I've got my adopted moms who actually love me. Take it back. No thanks.
Oh, you're here to trick me as well.
Shouting, Ron pulled her arm free from my grasp and turned to run.
You were the one who was shouting nasty things at me from the road yesterday too, weren't you? Well, I didn't do that. I just couldn't solve the last problem. Why'd you have to shout at me?
Oh no. She pulled at her own hair with her hands and dashed off toward the roof entrance. She didn't make it 2 steps before she tripped over her own feet and fell to the floor. I immediately rushed over and helped her up, letting her use my shoulder. When Ron Ibuki's rain-soaked sleeves touched me, all the moisture in them immediately fled like a hive of panicked ants, scattering away in all directions. Miss Sakura can literally dispel the illusions surrounding Ron because they're Mother of Humanity based. Mother of Humanity.
This is a different school than the one that we saw in the anomaly.
Yes.
Hmm.
Ron clutched my shoulder with a death grip. Also different settings. This is clearly a cityscape, judging by that rooftop.
Mm-hmm.
Ron clutched my shoulder with a death grip, as though she wanted to impale my flesh with her fingernails. It was quite painful, but I still did my best to help her back into the school building, before immediately depositing her next to the wall and telling her to sit. Her condition ought to be relatively stable. Otherwise, the school wouldn't have told her to come to class. I took off my jacket and started wiping Ron's hair with it. Just like before, all the moisture in Ron's hair fled at my touch. Superhuman towel powers. Ron neither moved nor spoke a word. Her motions had frozen over as quickly as they'd inflamed just now. She gave me free rein while I cleaned her hair. This close to her, it was actually kind of addicting. Oh no. Took her by the face, my jacket the only barrier between my hand and her skin. Ron closed her eyes, allowing me to drive all the rainwater off her face. After I finished wiping off all the rainwater on her lips, with a finger, she spoke.
That's pretty gay.
Yeah, real.
During Miho and Aya's flashback scene, they said that her illness worsened at some point in high school, but she had help from Miss Sakura, right?
Right. And so they were just...
The worsening was probably her becoming the new beloved child of the mother of humanity.
Right. It's like, she definitely... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So, it's like, she was definitely getting help from Miho at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And doing noticeably better, but... Yeah, becoming the
mother
beloved
of
child.
humanity caused a relapse.
Yeah, and then some.
Ain't that just what mothers do, am I right, fellas? What is the mother of humanity?
Are you ready to hear now? I wrapped her hands in my jacket and rubbed them until all the rain had vanished.
Enough with the questions, just tell me.
Looks like she's completely back to normal. Well, basically, the mother of humanity is the Earth itself. She has her own consciousness and wants to protect you humans. That's pretty much about it.
Why would she do that? I don't understand.
Yeah. I let go of her hands. It was time to wipe her thighs. Well, I don't really know her very well either. She's been alive for, 4.6 billion years now? If I had to recall all of that, I'm pretty sure I'd die. I wrapped her thighs in my jacket and began to wipe them down, starting from the hips and wiping toward the calves.
Why do you act like a know-it-all in all those terms I didn't understand back there?
What did you not understand? I used my right hand to lift the calf of her leg, forcing all the water out of her socks while taking off her shoe with my left hand.
I think that Ann might have a legs thing.
Yeah.
All that about being the beloved child of the mother or whatever.
Well, I don't exactly know everything about that either. I've only been able to observe in my recalls. They say that the beloved child is like the mother of humanity, that they can control every aspect of the earth at will. Though looking at you, I don't think you can do that at all.
Her smug face. No, why'd you say I was this child or whatever?
After I took her shoe off, I started wiping the arch of her foot. Apparently Ron was quite ticklish because she closed her mouth and twisted her head, struggling not to giggle.
He definitely has a foot thing, right?
Real. She is enjoying this in very much detail. Because you stayed awake, despite being drenched by the rain. I let go of Ron's foot so that she could speak again. As expected, she panted as she spoke.
I wanted to ask what was going on myself. Why you didn't get wet in the rain and why everyone else fell unconscious all of a sudden?
Basically, when a human being sees a supernatural phenomenon or entity, the whole region will begin to rain. Then all humans within that region will fall unconscious and also lose their memories before and after the incident. The rain itself will avoid making contact with the supernatural phenomenon in question. The definition of supernatural is defined by the mother. Just assume that she designed this system for the sake of protecting humanity, basically.
But it rains normally too, doesn't it?
I nodded, and then helped her put on her shoes, and then changed positions and started working on her other leg. Today's rain, which was actually a swarm of transparent liquid organisms which enter the brains of humans to devour their memories. It's a bit like they're parasitizing humanity, actually. Doesn't hearing that make you start to think that your very own brain has become your enemy now?
That's real neato.
Real neato. Ron, meanwhile,
Is this related to eclipse worms?
Ron, meanwhile, thinking that my brain has been my enemy for years. This is not
For
new
real.
to me.
And we'll just have to become organisms that think with every cell in our bodies, I suppose.
Like your feet. Tickle, tickle, tickle. The fact that Ron had understood my reference cheered me up so much that I accidentally pinched her thigh in excitement. Ron immediately shied away and looked warily at me. Whoops, I used too much strength there. Sorry. Let's continue. Ron, still doubtful, relaxed her body again, letting me continue to help wipe the rain off of her. In any case, if you could stay awake after getting drenched by the rain, that means that, to the mother of humanity, you're a being that exists between the human and the supernatural. I'm pretty sure the beloved child is the only being that fits those conditions. After all, she's the one that set the standards in the first place.
I don't know. I don't feel like there's anything special about myself.
Because it's only just begun. The beloved child of the mother of humanity will inevitably come into contact with more and more so-called supernatural things in the future. That's going to be a problem for you, isn't it? You've come in contact with one supernatural thing today. Tickle, 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 tickle. I took off the shoe off her left foot as well and wrapped her foot in my jacket before gently gripping her toes. And that's why we should become friends.
Why?
Well, you need me to help you deal with all the supernatural stuff that's going to come after you eventually, and I'd like to make a friend that I can actually talk about these things with. After all, if I mention any of the things to a human, it definitely caused the rain to start falling. My finger slid downwards until it reached the center of the palm of her foot. Let's get along with each other starting now, okay, Ibuki? She didn't answer me, but rather turned her head away and avoided my eyes. I didn't want her to refuse me, so I could only start thinking, trying to come up with something to say that bring the two of us closer together.
I'm gay. Maybe after you finish wiping my feet, she's also awakened something.
I hadn't expected Ibuki to speak first. Well, yep,
You
correct.
Could do my
Correct. Real.
You could do my back as well. Sakura.
What Ron wanted to express with that statement was self-evident, and a smile blossomed on my face in response. Of course! No problem! Ooh, Ibuki, let's walk home together now that school's out. Oh, Ibuki, what a coincidence! Your class has swimming lessons today, too. Ibuki, what would you like to have? I'll foot the bill. Ibuki, after school, we should go and...
You're so annoying, Sakura.
Oh, no. I'd known Ron Ibuki for about 3 months at this point, and during this time, she hadn't shown any serious symptoms of her illness. It was indeed as I had expected. She'd had to stabilize her mental state through therapy before she was allowed to come back to school. Auditory hallucinations remained consistent, though. She often told me that people were bullying her, that people were quietly scheming to hurt her. Based on what I knew, there was no bullying going on anywhere at school, and as for her classmates, rather than seeing Ibuki as a convenient victim, most of them were more afraid to approach Ibuki than anything. After all, she had a devil-may-care, loner attitude about her. Whenever she was around me, she always constantly acted as though she was sick of me. But in reality, she was all bark and no bite. Whenever I proposed that we would go somewhere together, or do something together, she never put up any actual opposition to my plans. Oh, the tsundere side! Ron Ibuki, who had always had an attitude, but actually always listened to everything I said, was super adorable. Oh, come on. You love it when I annoy you by hanging out with you. It's not like you've got any friends but me anyways. Mean, but...
I do too have friends. I have Aya at home, and there's Koizumi-sensei at school.
My mom and I... The Ron Ibuki who was tripping over her own words after I teased her was also very adorable as well. Well, one of them is basically your adoptive mother, and the other one's a teacher at your school. Face it, that doesn't count.
Sakura, you're so annoying.
Ibuki repeated her words, then kept scarfing down the bento box I'd made for her anyways. After school's over, come over to my house today.
Why? I don't want to. You've been making me go out with you to all sorts of places every single afternoon recently. I'm gonna go home earlier today.
What an amazing turn in this relationship. from that.
So it's On fell first and Ron fell harder?
Honestly. Ibuki began to pace back and forth in front of my bookshelf as soon as she'd gotten to my room. I knew that she enjoyed reading a lot, particularly detective novels, so I didn't plan on interrupting her. I figured I'd let her satisfy herself before I talked to her. I should buy and read some detective novels in the future as well. Otherwise I won't be able to keep up when she talks about them.
Huh? Wait, before Ron said that she got the hobby of reading detective novels from Sakura, didn't she?
Yeah.
Did she rewrite her memories to make Sakura more important to her?
Ooh.
Maybe she actually got the detective novels from Sai, her older sister, who she is entirely repressed.
Oh.
Sakura, do you not have any nonfiction books?
Ibuki's question surprised me a bit. Most people wouldn't notice details like that. While I was buying books, I had even noticed whether they were fiction or nonfiction. I guess not? I stood up and approached the bookcase as well, sweeping the various fiction novels and fantasy comics with my eyes. Put simply, every single book on the bookshelf was something that an author had invented, rather than something that happened in reality. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
To summarize so far, yeah, Sakura is very much something interesting. Like, she feels very human, but not human in the eyes of the world, in the eyes of the mother of humanity.
And she has parents who did exist on the Earth.
They did exist. They are no longer here on the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
What we've learned so far is that orphans are alien. Possibly. I don't know. Yeah, because, yeah.
And also a voyeur who loves feet.
Correct. So, Sakura took notice of Ann. Sakura took notice of Ann? What? Sakura took notice of Ron with the whole Rain and the Mother of Humanity. And, honestly, correctly, thinking that, hey, I've got this, I'm supernatural too, I can help you with any of these supernatural stuff that comes after you. And then just started hanging out with Ron and found her super adorable. And
that's very much like the episode 1 of a 12-episode anime, right?
Right. We have time traveled back to episode 1. But I mean, that's normal, isn't it? Would most people buy the biographies of famous people or books about historical events or something?
People like you who have a whole bookshelf full of books, most likely, yeah, they'd have at least 1 or 2 nonfiction books.
I nodded. I suppose that it was the recalls causing me to subconsciously avoid nonfiction books. After all, I could view as many things that happen in reality as I wanted.
Ann knows who shot JFK. Wait a second, who was I thinking of?
What?
This book!
Oh, yeah, What were we talking about just now? I just blanked out for a moment. Why is it raining outside now? Due to her illness, Ibuki rarely expressed intense positive emotions. But this time, she'd spoken in a much higher pitch than usual, and it actually startled me.
Sakura, see, you do have a nonfiction book here after all. Have you read this one?
Is it Tama's book?
It's probably Tama's book.
Yeah! The book she was holding was named Memories of the Kanto Earthquake. The author was someone named Shirahana Yanagiwara. Oh, yes, I've read it. The true name of the author was Tama Indo, right? Ron nodded, looking quite excited.
Look at her smile.
Oh.
I like this book a lot. Sakura, how'd you come upon this book? This is the only nonfiction book you've got in your whole bookshelf, isn't it?
Honestly, I don't even remember buying this book. Anyway, since we're already here, we might as well get to the point. It's been here the whole time. I turned and headed to my desk, grabbed the glass bottle full of meteorites, and gestured for Ibuki to come over and sit. She frowned, not sure what I was up to, but immediately came over to the table anyway, still holding the book. I called you to my house just to show you this. Eh? I pulled over the stopper of the bottle and poured a few of the meteorites out. The sound they made as they splashed out across my desk sounded a lot like raindrops falling on an umbrella. which I liked a lot. These are meteorites from my home world. They landed on the Earth along with us, and we kept them as a memento, I guess. My ancestors have kept and passed them down through the generations, and ultimately my mother passed them into my hands.
Huh.
Ron picked up one of the stones and inspected it closely, not making a sound. After we arrived on the Earth, the Mother of Humanity appeared before us. She greatly disliked us beings who looked like humans externally, but were completely different internally.
The Mother of Humanity is racist?
Rude. We weren't invaders or anything. We just wanted to find a place to live. So we kept pretending to be Earthlings and survived all the way to the present day.
They're so normal? How about your parents?
Meteorites kind of look like Kodamas from Princess Mononoke.
Oh.
Yeah.
Those are a lot more friendly than skulls.
Yeah. I picked up a meteorite as well and held it in my palm. All I had to do was use recall on it, and I could see the faces of my father and mother as they were still... Excuse me? All I had to do was use recall on it, and I could see the faces of my father and mother as they were while they were alive. Anytime I wanted.
So she's got post-cognition on objects as well.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's much better than the alternative. The skulls of our family. Our lifespan is only 40 years long. They passed away when they were 30-something. I don't have any evidence, but I think it's some kind of poison that the Mother of Humanity has stealthily dosed us with.
The Mother of Humanity is like crazy racist.
Wow.
So you could live much longer before?
Well, no. We've always been limited to a lifespan of 40 years. But the ability that every one of us had to use recall, that's been disappearing slowly over time. Like, as an example, since about 1,000 years ago, our people started losing the power to recall at the age of 30. And if we fast forward to the present, my mother lost her power to recall at the age of 18.
Huh. So you...
I'll probably lose the power of recall sometime next year. Once that happens, I'll just be a perfectly ordinary, if slightly short-lived Earthling, I guess. Perhaps the Mother of Humanity's plan is to just slowly turn us all into Earthlings that way. I laughed as I stretched. Ibuki's expression was even more serious than I'd anticipated. Wish I knew which aspect of the situation she was most worried about. I'm not worried about if I can use the power of recall or not. Because of how short our lifespans are, our people generally tend to live their lives in one of two ways. One of those ways is to struggle their whole lives, not wasting a fraction of a single second, reaching out and trying to experience the entirety of the world with our power before we lose it. The other way to live like me. I figure since we're not long for the world, we might as well just live however we like. Oh, but my mother told me that we all shared one tendency in common. Our love for feet. I reached out and pulled that copy of Memories of the Kanto Earthquake back to myself. At a certain stage in our lives, we all tend to discover, this is the meaning of my life, this is the reason why I live, and then we embark on a journey to find some way to extend our limited lifespans, so that we can fulfill our life's meaning.
That also sounds human-like.
Yeah.
So you figure out the meaning of your life then?
I shook my head, tapping the book with a finger. Absolutely not. I feel like it really doesn't matter at all when I die. There's nothing that I'd have to stay alive to do, anything that I have to stay alive to witness. But my parents came to the decision that their lives' meanings were each other after they met each other.
Oh.
They embarked on their journey to find a way to be able to spend more time together. Of course they failed. None of our race have ever succeeded in finding a way to extend their lifespans.
That's so sweet, though!
Oh, honestly. Oh. That's why after I heard that this book was about how the author took another person to be their meaning to their life, and how she was able to use this as motivation even after she lost that person, I decided to buy it to see if it could inspire me. But after reading it, I shrugged, to indicate that I hadn't really gotten much of value out of the book. Is this what... You were saying that she modified her own memories to make Ann more important in them.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be the linchpin, isn't it? As in her flashback, she was saying that it was her devotion to Miss Sakura that enforced her devotion to Miss Sakura.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's the reverse?
Oh!
Ibuki gathered the scattered meteorites on the table up and placed them back in the glass bottle one by one.
She kinned her girlfriend too hard. I thought that you enjoyed the time you spent with me.
I blinked. No matter how often she showed that kind of expression, I always thought that Ibuki sure was cute, every single time. Well, of course I'm having fun, but maybe making just having fun into the meaning of your existence, to the point where it transforms the way in which you live. That's a bit tough. But I'm pretty happy that I could come to meet you before becoming a short-lived earthling. Maybe the fact that I can rest easy and not worry about when my life will come to an end is all because of you. I took Ron's shoulders. She didn't resist me, and took the opportunity to lean into my lap. Aww. Plus, you're the beloved child of the mother. I'm very lucky that I was able to meet you at all.
If I weren't, would you not want to be my friend then?
Oh, now that was a real hardball question. I scrunched up my face, trying my best to look tormented by the question, and answered. Probably. We'd still be friends. Because right now you look pretty much indistinguishable from a regular human. And you don't seem much like any of the other beloved children I've seen in my recalls before, where all sorts of supernatural things were coming out of the woodwork to pick a fight with them.
Why did I beef with her?
For all I know, maybe you're just an ordinary earthling. I'm not totally wrong that you're the beloved child. But even if that's so, I'd still like to be with you. So even if you weren't the beloved child, I'd still be your friend. Aww. Of course, Ibuki was definitely the beloved child. The fact that she'd gotten drenched by the rain that day was incontrovertible proof.
Oh, alright then. You only got until the age of 40 anyways, so I don't mind spending the next 20 years with you, I guess. That's pretty gay.
Oh, real. So we aliens actually discovered the one thing to expand our lifespan. It took so long because the thing we needed didn't exist until recently. It's microplastics. Just eating pounds and pounds of shredded plastic, and I'm basically immortal. No, Dark. It's the reverse. That's the subtle poison. No, that wouldn't work. That's a poison to the mother. That's a poison to the mother of humanity. Would that work? It would certainly be effective. But God,
but did the mother of humanity poison her own Of course she would.
Of course she would. Look at her. He just says, "Oh, something fucked up's happening there. Go to sleep." Send out the brain.
Yeah, just bless the rains. It'll be fine.
Yeah, send out the brain worms. Oh, excellent. Looks like I can rest easy and retire early. Ibuki broke into a smile at my words. As she laughed, she gently draped a hand over the back of mine. Aw.
Next time, you should come to our house. I'd like for you to meet Miho and Aya.
Yes, please.
Meet the parents.
Please. I nodded with anticipation sprouting in my heart. Give us the girls. 3 days after Ibuki stepped foot in my house, she awkwardly invited me to visit her own house for dinner. When I pretended to refuse her, Ibuki made an expression of disappointment and incredulity that was ultra adorable. And when I changed my tune and said that of course I'd go, her pouting but happy expression was even more adorable. Miho! Adult Miho! Yes!
Oh, she's aged so gracefully.
Oh, truly. Amazing. So happy for her.
Gorgeous.
Yes. Resplendent.
Stunning.
Resplendent.
Never seen before.
We are living today.
We're thriving.
We are thriving. Our crops are thriving. Oh, that's right. You're still Miho.
Oh, right.
Understandable.
Ron's been reminding us all day these days about how you're planning to come over as a guest so he wouldn't forget.
Miho spoke as she served food onto Ron's plate. She was very beautiful, and her words and motions were quite refined. The fact that Ron was able to enjoy a highly sanitary environment, even after she fell ill, was surely in no part due to Miss Takei's efforts.
No small part.
And when she smiled, the dimples by her eyes would lift upwards slightly, catching my attention.
No.
Yeah! We're winning today, gang. We are so winning. Look at them. They're beautiful. They are winning. See?
Yes. Oh, she's so gorgeous.
Yes.
Is there a way to hide the text box? Can we get full bodies?
No. That way. Yeah, there we go.
Oh.
There we go. All right. When we
Button dress.
button dress, that's beautiful. Oh,
And she still got the collar.
yeah. That Miho made for her.
Oh.
In the band days. See? I told you she was bringing a girlfriend back, even though Ron kept denying it. Miss Toyama took off the apron and carried the newly finished curry chicken to the dining table. I'd heard that she did the cooking in the household. Yes. She didn't look the part.
I love women.
Miss Toyama looked charismatic, like the kind of person who'd be popular with the ladies. She wasn't short, and the ponytail she wore gave a handsome cast to her features, despite her face seeming childishly youthful. She looked less like the household cook and more like the person that the household cook was supposed to make treats for. I couldn't help but notice the choker around her neck. Ibuki had told me that I was in a rock and roll band, which is why she wore it. When I learned it was Miss Takei who'd bought her the choker in the first place, I concluded that she was probably wearing it more for private purposes. Real and true of them. Understandable. I couldn't help but imagine myself buying one for Ibuki. Miss Sakura, please. She'd probably try awkwardly to refuse it. I'd probably try awkwardly to refuse it for a while before ultimately acceding to my desires and putting it on anyway. Hee hee hee. Ibuki often tells me about the two of you as well. She's told me about how the two of you are the only people in the world who truly love her and who wouldn't abandon her no matter what. Oh, wow, for reals? Ron, did you actually say something so cute to your girlfriend?
Cute.
Nah, I made it up. Ibuki jostled me with her elbow. I didn't know what she meant by it. After all, she had in fact said those exact words to me. That's on, please. But I'm sure she was thanking it in her heart.
Don't worry, we all know how Ron feels. You should see the way she pouts when you're not around.
Oh. There's our full body Miho.
Oh.
I love that for that. I'm so happy the moms are thriving. They're
Yes.
so good. They're so good.
Love them.
Love them so much. Yeah, I could very easily imagine what Ibuki would look like while pouting.
Well, it's a good time to bring it up then.
Miss Takei set down her chopsticks and watched me with her eyes. I couldn't help but get nervous at her gaze. Miss Sakura, what are your intentions with our daughter?
After hearing about you from Ron, I've always wanted to thank you in person. Even though I and I have tried our best to take care of Ron, there's very little we can do for her while she's at school. Thank you for keeping her company in class.
Oh, it's nothing. I've enjoyed the time we spent together as well.
In middle school, Ron's condition didn't permit her to go to school, and she didn't attend classes for long. I pulled her out and started tutoring her at home.
Oh.
Luckily, she's quite intelligent. Even though her illness has made it hard for her to focus, she was still able to test into her current high school. I'd originally thought it'd be a good opportunity for her to make some friends of the same age, but she still had quite a tough time during freshman year.
As she spoke, Miss Takei gave her a concerned glance in Ibuki's direction. I've heard of that period of time in Ibuki's life as well, in passing. Back then her classmates had held serious prejudices against her, because of her nationality, rather than her condition. Mean of them.
The racism never ends. Even now, I still feel like Koizumi-sensei is the only good teacher I ever met.
Oh.
You should thank her properly afterwards. She keeps an eye out for you frequently, doesn't she? I should invite her over to dinner.
Yeah, honestly. Ibuki nodded. That conversation reminded me that Ibuki had once mentioned that Miss Takei had asked the school not to reveal that Ibuki was a foreigner. But clearly some loose-mouthed teacher had let the information out anyways. Koizumi-sensei was responsible for our grades math classes as well. Before Ibuki met me, the only person at school that Ibuki was on speaking terms with was her. Just in case I'd used recall on Koizumi-sensei as well. Her life story hadn't exactly been smooth sailing, and in the future it was likely to take a turn for the
Oh, she knew this.
She knew this, and that wasn't something for me to interfere with. Okay, that's enough about the unhappy past. We moved on. Ron-chan is you to help support her now as well, Ann. Using a dinner knife, Miss Toyama sliced off and deposited some roasted pork on my plate. You seem pretty mature, Ann. With you around, I'm sure that Ron-chan will be fine. I did in fact have a lot more life experience than most others around me due to the recalls, but mature. I lifted my hand and experimentally touched my face. Relative to Earthlings, I did experience an increased rate of senescence. I hope that wasn't what Miss Toyama meant.
I think that means age of maturity?
Increased rate of senescence.
Oh, biological aging.
Oh, well.
The thing about dying at age 40.
That's fair.
He is technically middle-aged.
Yeah, halfway through her lifespan.
Why are you so quiet today? Nothing. I just wanted you and Aya to chat more with Ann.
Ooh, are you nervous?
As if I'd have any reason to be nervous in my own home.
Even though I couldn't help but tease her again, I understood how Ibuki must have felt. She must have been wondering whether her adoptive mothers and I, the three people who each cared deeply about her, would get along well. Well, you should talk more then. I want to see how you act when you're at home.
Ron's very well behaved. I've been working from home lately, and during that time, Ron's frequently made tea for us, or helped rub our shoulders to relieve stress.
Aww.
She's so sweet.
Oh, real. Absolutely, absolutely. But honestly, Ron-chan spends more time pouting at you than helping out, doesn't she? She's always asking for hugs and all that. Yeah.
She's needy.
Oh. Let her have hugs.
I don't... That's normal, isn't it?
Let her have hugs. Oh-ho. Ron's reliance on the two of them must surely exceed the feelings that most ordinary people have for their parents. Ibuki was abandoned by her biological parents and consigned to a nation that spoke a completely different language. Not to mention how she'd inherited her mother's schizophrenia. Even then, Miss Toyama and Miss Takei had taken good care of her. They must have put in unimaginable effort to get her to a point where she could participate in normal society. Furthermore, the symptoms of her condition left her with little interest in interacting with strangers. In contrast, she needed physical contact with those who were closest to her to find her sense of security in social interactions. After eliminating these reasons, all I could do was imagine Ibuki pouting at her parents before she asked them for a hug. It reminded me once again of how unbelievably cute Ibuki was.
Sound bad.
Correct.
Speaking of which, lately our office has been considering having everyone work from home due to an increased prevalence of honeycomb amnesia incidents around here.
Less
They're gathering around Ron.
Less risk of being on the move when you go emergency night-night.
Yeah. You two, make sure to be careful when you're going to school too. Try to take the safer paths further from the roads, otherwise it'd be dangerous if a driver suddenly got hit by the syndrome.
Real. I nodded and wondered to myself whether the rains would come if Ibuki, the beloved child, brought up anything about the supernatural to humans around her. If at all possible, I would have loved to be able to explain my identity to them, and explain that Ibuki was destined to lead a difficult life, and that when those difficulties came, I would do my best to protect Ibuki in their stead, until I passed away myself. Ibuki and I take the same path to school, so I promise that I'll take care of her. After enjoying the delicious food that Miss Toyama had prepared for us, and still holding the sugar apple that the two of them had shoved at us for dessert after dinner, Ibuki and I visited the park under the apartment to take a walk together. There wasn't a soul in sight. Not only that, but there were only a couple of hurried pedestrians on the sidewalk a short distance from us. The public cars, which had been equipped with automatic driving systems, were still operating as usual, but there were vanishingly few privately owned vehicles. A sight such as this was very commonplace in areas struck by honeycomb amnesia syndrome. It'd probably take a month or so before everything slowly went back to normal.
Sakura, is there any way to let Aya and Miho know everything without causing them to lose their memories?
If anybody would know, it would be you, as the beloved child as the beloved child, or the mother of humanity herself. But it's fine for things to stay the way they are with them, I think. After all, in the future, you'll definitely need someone who cares about you but doesn't know about the strangeness around you to serve as your safe harbor. And Miss Toyama and Miss Takei are the most suitable people in the whole universe for responsibilities such as this.
I don't know. I don't want them to come to any danger, though.
What if they're on a date and get harassed by an annoying man, so Sakura just yells, "I'm an alien!" and everyone passes out just so they can leave? Honestly, this Sakura, as we've been learning about her this far, she would totally do that.
Yeah.
Weaponize the reins. Don't worry. The Earth's a huge place. The number of people who run into supernatural phenomenon and then actually suffer any danger from them is vanishingly small. Most of those supernatural entities are like me, just trying to eke out a living on this planet.
Really? Okay, I'll listen to you then.
After speaking, Ibuki reached a hand out to me.
Have you ever used recall on me?
I shook my head.
Take my hand. I want you, like Miho and Aya, to be able to understand me.
I took Ibuki's hand with both my own, but I didn't use recall. Because recalls are so interconnected that with just a bit of focus I can jump to pretty much anything I care to know about. If I recall this table here, I learn about everyone who's ever walked past or sat down at this table. That's why I want to treasure this feeling that makes me want to understand you more. I could feel a small trembling in the palms of my hands. Ibuki nodded and showed me a rare smile, an expression which truly touched my heart. For some reason, it felt like it wasn't the part of my heart that was responsible for positive sentiments. Perhaps I enjoyed seeing a confused or annoyed expression on Ibuki's face more. Well, it was her fault for looking so cute like that anyways.
When she mentioned that the Ann in the school had a completely different personality, I didn't expect the real Ron to be so playful.
Honestly.
All right then, I guess I'll just have to bring you to slowly understand me the long way around.
The long way. Ron led me to sit down on a bench in the park. The sun had warmed the bench, making it quite comfortable to sit on. That, plus with the pleasant fullness of our stomachs, made it a good time to sit down and have a long conversation. Honestly, I'm not using recall on Ron for that reason, too. It's a healthy mental exercise for Ron as well.
Yeah, maybe the healthiest part of them.
Yeah.
Oh, what should we talk about first?
Last time we just got to when you first arrived in Japan. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about Miss Toyama and Miss Take?
Oh, of course. So let's start with that one incident.
Ooh.
Anne, have you heard?
What? I answered her half-heartedly. At the moment, my entire brain was filled with Ron's plan to visit Koizumi-sensei over the weekend. Half a month ago, Koizumi-sensei had told Ron that she was planning to reject the marriage that her parents had arranged for her. That day on, she'd never come to school again, and Ron was growing more and more agitated because of it.
Oh, Ron was guilty that she didn't do anything, but she is doing something now.
Ooh.
Our math teacher, Koizumi-sensei, she's resigned her position.
Is that so? I pretended to be surprised as I reached and out and touched her wrist and immediately entered recall. The rumors she'd heard around had already spread through the whole school. Through this, I was able to easily change the subject of the recall to Koizumi-sensei herself. The side that I saw was sadly the opposite of what Ron had hoped for.
And a year that she even got pregnant before she even got married?
Oh no. I stood and left the bewildered student there and headed right for Ron's class. Even though the starting class bell was about to ring, there was no time to spare. I knew exactly how Ron would react when she heard the rumors going around. I had to be by her side. The situation went badly. If anybody wanted to hinder me, then I'd take out the bottled eclipse worm that I kept with me for emergencies like this and break it to summon the rains.
What, emergency worm bottle?
Emergency worm bottle. Dark, you were right. Tactical alien deployment. Ron! I saw Ron hugging her leg, sitting on a lone chair, her table overturned. The other students had backed off and left a wide circle around her, and I could clearly hear what they were whispering to each other. I pushed them out of the way and went to Ron's side, pulling her to her feet, with the intention of taking her out of the classroom.
Everyone knows I did it. They repeated the exact words I said to Koizumi-sensei to me.
Oh.
Even the table knew. The table spoke too. Oh.
The table spoke. Oh. Ron clung tightly to my arm. Right now she had little reason to spare on modulating her strength, and she was gripping me very tightly. I could feel the tingling in my fingertips signaling that the blood flow in my arm had been cut off by the pressure. Ron, calm down. It's not your fault.
I can hear Koizumi-sensei crying. Is she right behind me?
I was worried that any sound at all would just become further torment for Ron, so at that point I didn't say anything at all and just dragged her to the nurse's office instead. teacher on duty had apparently been informed of Ron's condition when Ron was first enrolled. She allowed me to help Ron over to the bed, while she gave Miss Toyama and Miss Take a call. I sat by the side of the bed, holding tightly to Ron's hand. I understood very well that she might not be able to come back to school after this. Once her condition began to destabilize, recuperation would require a very long period of time. It wasn't very likely she'd be able to keep attending classes. So just how much time did I have left with her?
Oh,
Ron, be good and take these pills for me, okay?
I won't. Don't come close to me.
Ron had curled herself up at the foot of the bed, sweating all over and staring at me with terrified eyes. After her illness worsened during the Koizumi-sensei's departure, I was just barely able to convince Miss Take to allow Ron to continue to attend classes. The result was that she was only allowed to attend classes for half the day, and I, on the other hand, became responsible for taking care of her at school, with the critical duty of making sure that she took her medication at noon as prescribed. The mentally ill could fight medication to a degree that exceeded even my imagination. Once you take the medication, you can take a nap, then after you wake up, we can go home together, okay?
Poor face.
Oh.
In Ron's memories, after Koizumi's resignation, she said that she clung harder to Ann, but yeah, like you said, it's kind of reversed here. Ann is clinging really hard to Ron.
Really hard to Ron.
I'm not taking the medications. I'll never take anything you give me, not even water.
Ron had grown even more tense than before. Her toes fidgeted and grasped at the bedsheets, while her eyes didn't stop turning every which way for even an instant. For a while, I'd been tricking Ron into taking her medication by hiding it in her food to overcome her resistance. Eventually she found out, and once she did, it left her even more high-strung and paranoid. Oh no.
Like cheese and peanut butter for a dog?
Real. Just raw. God, it's mean, but I keep thinking of that one video of the dog where they slip it into his mouth, and there's just like a pause, and then it just ejects the pill from the side of his mouth.
Yeah.
Ron, I just want you to get better quickly.
I'm not sick. Why are you forcing me like this? I'm clearly the one being persecuted and bullied by them. Why should I be the one who has to take medication?
She took the phone at her side and threw it at nothing in particular. I turned my head and saw the screen of Ron's phone shatter. Oh! The photo she and I had taken together was now covered with cracks, and the center of the cracks was, by sheer coincidence, located right over my face. Ominous! In actuality, the medical prescription had already long since run its course, but Ron's situation still showed no clear sign of improvement. I was heartbroken and exhausted. No matter how many psychiatrists' memories I combed through with recall, the only thing it brought with me was endless astonishment about how different each individual patient's case could be. The only things I learned about which I could apply to Ron's situation were existing proven medicines. So
She taught herself psychiatry?
through recalling all of these psychiatrists. So she may as well be licensed.
Yeah.
In that case, she may as well be licensed.
You know what? I'm sorry for doubting you, Ann.
Real of her. Respect. No matter what, you have to keep taking your meds. After I said so, I put the olanzapine pill in my mouth and crawled over the bed next to her. Oh, that's... Oh.
That's what Ron mentioned before?
Yep.
What are you doing? Stay away from me.
She did. That was the food she did that with before. Also with medicine. Okay. I reached out and grabbed her at the arm. Ron struggled fiercely, trying to kick me away with her legs.
Don't come any closer. Don't.
Her mouth was open. I took the opportunity and pressed my own lips to them, and used my tongue to deliver the pill into her mouth. Ron choked and sobbed and shook her head, but gradually gave up on struggling. I waited until she had fully calmed down before pulling my lips away and letting go of her hands. That was our first kiss.
Doesn't feel
boy.
good, gang.
Oh boy, does not feel good. Clearly this wasn't the kind of first kiss she'd wanted. Ron hugged her shoulders and turned her head away, tears running down her cheeks. I'm sorry, Ron. I retreated as far away as I could, and she hugged herself even tighter, leaning against the wall. Ron lowered her head. I couldn't see what expression she was making. Ron, why don't you take a day off from school tomorrow? Ron remained silent and unresponsive. I blinked my eyes, feeling like I was about to cry. I did my best to bear it and looked out through the window, up towards the bright and cloudless blue sky. Summer's almost here. Once it's summer vacation, we go out on a trip together. To the sea. How's that sound? Ann suddenly nodded her head and followed by speaking.
Okay. Man!
Wow. Whoa. Mutually toxic unity. Wahoo!
Yeah, hourglass style, mutually toxic.
Whew. Ron's condition had improved significantly, but she was still plagued by serious insomnia. Even at the seaside resort, she still found it hard to fall asleep, so every night she and I would hold hands and take a long and meandering walk on the sands, without another soul in sight. Bright moon reflected itself in the surface of the ink-black water. A pure white light was particularly eye-catching, and so we'd always stop our walks whenever we reached an optimal spot to moon-gaze. At this moment, the only thing I was worried about was whether the ocean winds would ruin my carefully maintained hair. She's very proud of her
I love how
hair.
confident Ann is in her hotness.
Yeah. Proud of her. Ooh.
Cool.
Cute.
Ann, are there aliens on the moon?
It's possible.
What about the sun?
The sun itself is one. Real.
Cool.
Ron nodded. I knew that she wasn't particularly interested in the answer. She just wanted to say something to me. She'd be
No
like,
further questions.
No further questions, Your Honor. We're whalers on the moon. We carry our harpoon. She'd been like this ever since we saw that news about the female high schooler who had committed suicide at Shibuya Crossing today. Oh, hi, Asakura.
Hi, Asakura.
Do you still want to talk about Makoto Asakura?
Yeah.
Ron held my hand with force. She'd been trying all day to ensure that I was accompanying her by her side, that I was paying attention to her.
Ann, why are you willing to spend all this time with me?
I don't know. I guess I just enjoy it. The first time I visited your house, I said so as well, didn't I? We ought to keep each other company.
If Asakura had someone next to her who was to her like you were to me, then maybe she'd have lived on. I can't help but feel like she and I are very similar. If nobody was around to care for me, then maybe I'd make the same choice as her. We're whalers on the moon. We carry a harpoon. I can finally fulfill my dream of destroying the sun.
Real. Just... So, Aya and Miho, Koizumi, Tama, Asakura,
But we haven't learned about Sai yet.
yeah, I was gonna say. We've referenced everyone else but Sai. What does this mean? In the recalls, I could see that Makoto Asakura had many people by her side who cared about her. None of it successfully moved her, though. Her problem seems to be more fundamental in nature. It was unfortunate that I couldn't use my power on the deceased directly. Even if I could, there'd be no way for me to know what they were thinking.
Maybe what she needed wasn't just somebody who cared about her, but rather someone like Inagiwara. Tama Indo's book mentioned something like that. Asakura needed to have meaning granted to her life, something that could help her find a connection between her and the world. Maybe then she wouldn't have chosen to kill herself.
Ron nodded to herself, seemingly convinced that she'd found the right answer. At that point, the waves grew slightly louder, and a wind blew in from the sea. The clouds of the night sky were brushed away, sighed by the wind as well. The light of the moon shone boundlessly over the beach. Oh! By that light, I looked toward Ron, and she at me. As well, with an expression that seemed almost to be a smile, but not quite. You could tell, though, that she was embarrassed, because my expression was probably much the same. We thought of the same thing. Oh.
Oh, it's a better first kiss.
Yeah, a proper do-over. I now seem to understand why our kind always eventually sought a way to extend our lifespans. Even now I was hoping that I could spend more time with Ron. I wish that my life hadn't already passed its halfway point. I wish that Ron could love me more deeply than I loved myself. I wanted to become, in her heart, a figure of singular and irreplaceable primacy.
Oh,
That sounds eerily familiar to... That sounds eerily familiar.
the Ron in the mystery realm sure does love her more deeply.
Yeah, that's really... That sounds quite a lot like how the Ron in the murder realm views Ann.
Ron, why are you crying?
I don't know. She was the beloved child of the mother of humanity. I still remember the way that she elicited a unique feeling of attraction within me when we first met. And now churning it within me was that same feeling all over again. Did I really love her? Was it just like I'd seen in the recalls, how all living entities not created by the mother of humanity were irrevocably drawn toward the beloved child, condemned by their nature to try to win the beloved child's love to achieve their own selfish goals? I don't know.
Ron, is it your lifespan? Are you worried about your lifespan?
Ann shook her head. I'm not worried. There's still 20 years left. As long as I can be with you, my life will be filled with meaning without a second wasted. As I lied to her on one hand, I held her hand with the other. Oh no. It's getting colder. Let's go back to our room. I'm sure you'll be able to sleep well tonight. As though to encourage me, Ron gripped my hand in response as well. With our fingers intertwined, we advanced forward together. This looks familiar. The resort we checked into was an old residential building located near Searside Grove. Apparently, after the owner had mysteriously disappeared for several years, their family had sold the building to its current proprietor.
Oh, that's why the dorm room looked like that. It was a hotel.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah, that makes quite a lot of sense. Because of the remote location of the rumors involved, there were very few customers, which suited me perfectly.
Hotel's haunted.
Hotel's haunted. Is the proprietor Yorna? Do you feel sleepy?
Oh.
Even though Ron was yawning, she still shook her head. Then shall we go take another stroll somewhere?
A hotel by the beach to remind herself of the ocean and her definitely dead sister.
Oh.
They said there was an observation deck here, didn't they?
Ah, yes. I think they said it was on the 3rd floor. Let's go take a look. Ron and I arrived at the observation deck. This was a regular polygonal room with a broad view of the landscape outside the windows. Ron sat down beside the wall and turned her head to look at the sea of stars that filled the view outside the window. I, on the other hand, held her hand and looked only at her.
We should come here more during the rest of our stay here as well.
Hey, good night, Doug. Thanks for hanging out. Glad you
Happy
enjoyed.
homosexuality.
Glad you enjoyed the happy homosexuality. This is so good.
Have a good Wednesday.
Have a good Wednesday. Of course, if you'd like to come, you can come here any time.
Just the nights will be enough.
Relatable. Staring out at the ocean and in the middle of the night is a powerful vibe. I respect that.
Yeah.
Ron closed her eyes and leaned against my shoulder and fell asleep before too long. But she turned and tossed restlessly every night always distressed me. For some reason, she entered a deep and steady slumber this time. Looks like we really
Oh, that's you. Sorry.
Looks like we really do need to come here to stargaze more often. Good night, Ron. Oh no.
What? It hurts so much. Help me. Hello?
The air was full of the smell of fetid water. It was far from being able to cover the stench of blood. Ron's screams mixed with the sound of rain echoing across the rooftop. I gasped in panic, feeling like I was about to hurl. Human beloved child, help me. Did you eat her arm?
I think it ate her arm.
Before my eyes was a bizarre organism, a puddle of quicksilver blood mixed with decaying chunks of flesh. It was clearly on its last legs.
So this is what they meant by otherworldly beings inherently desiring the beloved child of humanity.
Yep. Desiring their love or flesh. Oh no, I need to go to bed soon too. Waking up at 6 is mean to you. Oh, sleep well, Chris.
Do your
Sleep well,
best.
Chris. Do your best. And its bizarre blood had splashed onto me. The strange substance halfway between solid and liquid had congealed into irregular shapes of my body. This was much like its fundamental nature, just a mass of black hair which changed forms based on the expectations of the conscious beings around it, constantly switching between solid, liquid, and gaseous states. Beloved child. It spoke atonally, but its voice sounded like a mixture between mine and Ron's, which filled me with disgust. Oh, so we should both say its voice lines.
Oh, okay. Please save me. Miss Sakura, please.
Trembling, I turned my head. Ron was slumped on the floor. Her left arm had been torn off at the elbow, and I could spot the shredded muscle and shattered bone in the wound. She wept and sobbed uncontrollably for the sheer pain that had scraped her legs red with her repeated wild kicking against the floor. A whole puddle of blood had formed under the remnants of her left arm. It had only taken a few seconds for that thing to pounce on Ron and devour her arm. If I could have just been more...
Miss Sakura, my hand, it hurts so much.
It's fine, Ron. It's fine. I'll take you to the hospital. I bent down and picked her up. Ron sobbed inconsolably, repeating her pleas toward Miss Sakura.
My hand, Miss Sakura, it hurts so much. Please help me. Miss Sakura is a really strong change in terms of address, huh?
Right. Everything's fine. I'll help you. The beings which had been defined by the mother of humanities as supernatural, the beloved child was a temptation that far exceeded my imagination. I had been naive enough to believe that I was the only one who knew that the new beloved child was Ron. That was what had brought this suffering down upon us. This is only the beginning. They'll keep coming, and they'll never stop, not until they take Ron away from me for good. Ron, don't worry. I'll protect you, don't worry. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Wow.
Man.
Is this why she went to see the flesh cat?
Oh, that's very possible.
Ron's hand had been ripped away entirely by the thing that attacked us. Even though the wound had healed, the shirt sleeve of that arm remained empty. I didn't inform Miss Toyama about the incident. Instead, I lied to them, telling them that Ron and I were still enjoying our summer vacation together in a different location.
Well, it hurt on? Back to on, huh?
So, extreme panic and fear, perhaps, is what brought that on.
That makes me really worried considering she's only called on Miss Sakura the entire time she was in the school.
Real. Ron laid on the bed, clutching my wrist with a death grip using her only remaining hand. Don't worry. She'll inject you with a tranquilizer. Once you wake up, your left hand will have regrown. Hey, there's the blood sculptor.
It's the blood sculptor!
Blood sculptor real.
We love the blood sculptor.
Yeah, there she is.
That's a pretty kitty.
Pretty kitty flesh cat. I picked up the blood sculptor and placed them next to Ron's severed hand, and then took out some glass jars from my backpack. Inside them were 2 liters of blood from the same person. I nodded to the blood sculptor's owner, and she nodded and began to commune with the big cat. It wasn't the first time I'd come here. The blood sculptor generously allowed me to stroke its head. At the same time, its owner began preparing the tranquilizer. It seemed that 2 liters of blood would be sufficient. All right, it's time. Just close your eyes and go to sleep.
Okay. Will you keep me company?
Well, of course. I'm not going anywhere. Ron closed her eyes in satisfaction. I waited until the tranquilizer had taken effect before I gently pulled Ron's fingers away from mine and entered the room next door. Oh?
Hmm?
Oh? There I'd laid down in the recliner and took out the item I asked the blood sculptor's owner to help me prepare beforehand. I injected it all into my bloodstream and closed my eyes, waiting for it to spread throughout my entire body.
It's microplastics.
It's microplastics! I wanted to protect Ron. I wanted her to be able to escape her status as the beloved child of the mother of humanity and survive doing so. I wanted to be together with her forever. And at the same time, I wanted to know if my love for her was just the effect of the beloved child. For this reason, I needed to understand everything about this planet. Well then, let's start the recall. Are you recalling the globe?
Huh?
Ron slowly and blearily opened her eyes. Is this the disappearance that set Ron off searching?
He said that trying to remember the planet's memory would probably kill her?
Right.
Is this where she died?
Right. I think so. Ron slowly and blearily opened her eye. What did she get injected with? Curious. Ron slowly and blearily opened her eyes. Soon, though, that gave way to a surprised expression as she raised her left hand and experimentally flexed it a few times before grasping at the air with it.
Son, my hand's really back.
Well, of course. Oh, hello.
Oh, she exists.
Ron immediately used her newly regenerated left hand to caress my face, poking and prodding it, squeezing my nose and pulling my ears, and finally ending by stroking my lips.
Aw. Thank you, Ann.
Oh, it's nothing. I've been missing that hand of yours more than you have. Ron smiled in embarrassment. I discovered that I had long since fallen in love with her delighted expression as well. It was also equally cute.
What's wrong with your face? I felt like I was touching a plaster cast just now while I was feeling it.
It'll be fine in a bit. Don't worry about it. Eh? He used my apparently plaster-like finger to poke her face in return. Ron, I understand what it means to be the beloved child now. I'll make sure that you'll be able to leave behind this terrible identity and escape.
What? Ann, what did you do?
Ron held my hand tightly, with only concern left in her eyes. I have recalled 4.6 billion years and experienced the entirety of the Mother of Humanity's experiences. Wow!
Man.
The Mother was originally just a consciousness that came into being concurrently with the Earth itself. She was incapable of thought, and without a nervous system, she only had basic stimulus sensitivity, the way that plants did. Except her reactions to stimuli caused the origins of species, transformations in the climate, and plate tectonics, all the way until 1.8 million years ago when humanity was born. With humanity's birth, she gained self-awareness, became capable of reason, and gained emotions. Even before humanity, there existed creatures with rudimentary reasoning and emotive capabilities, but only Homo sapiens was an intelligent species capable of sustaining the Mother's self-awareness of her.
This is Nasuverse coded.
Real. The Mother of Humanity was overjoyed about this and became fiercely protective of the human race. Consciousness that reacted to stimuli, and this reaction created new species.
Mm-hmm.
But once she created humanity, that was the gateway to saying that everything beyond this point has spawned consciousness in me, almost like a reflection.
She's a very overprotective mother.
Real. Mother Humanity was overjoyed about this, became fiercely protective of the human race. To shelter them, she appeared before all things on Earth, which had not been created by her own stimulus reactions, declared herself the Mother of Humanity to them. 2,000 years ago, she suddenly grew sick of this. Tired of this. Too much work. 1.8 million years of nurturing humans had caused her to grow exhausted, but she couldn't bear to completely let go. She began trying to find a being who could inherit the position of mother from her.
Jesus made her change her mind? What did Jesus do? So the so-called beloved child is someone who has the potential to inherit her position?
That's right. But for some reason, no beloved child has succeeded for the last 2,000 years. I suppose the conditions required must be extremely strict, and she herself probably can't fully control it either. But you know, she's got plenty of time. She can afford to be patient. Ah, we've arrived. Here it is. Hello, school. I'd brought Ron to the village I'd lived in when I was young. After navigating the forest trails and the mountain tunnels, we arrived at an abandoned old school. My father had once told me that his grandfather had once served as a teacher here, and that in his quest to find a way to extend his life, he had discovered a certain object that might prove useful to me, which he'd left in this school.
They were just a pretty normal immigrant family.
Real? Just...
Looks like it's been abandoned for ages. The village at the base of the mountain feels like it's pretty old, too. And the old lady that's been taking care of us these past few days, you called her your granny?
Oh.
Is that Sai?
Oh, well, she's not related to me by blood. After all, we can't live to the age where we can see our grandchildren grow up in front of us. She's an Earthling, but she took care of my father when he was growing up. And she also took care of me when I was young, so I call her my granny. She's a very strong woman. And recall, I saw that she had experienced many twists and turns in her life. She didn't even cry even when my mother and father passed away.
Is this Psy?
It feels very likely. It feels very
You're
likely.
just pointing at every side character now going, are you Psy?
What if Granny would cry at my passing?
She didn't seem to like me much. She'd intentionally interrupt me whenever I started talking. Mean to her.
I think she's mad that her beloved granddaughter got seduced by such a gloomy and untrustworthy character as yourself.
I didn't know.
You seduced me! Ron lowered her head and hugged my arm. Ever since the arm-severing incident, Ron's personality has changed slightly. We'd already been quite physically intimate before that, of course, but Ron was still insistent on playing hard to get. Verbally, at least. Now it seemed like she constantly hoped for attention from me and sought for me to share more and more of my emotions with her. Of course, I wouldn't begrudge her any of the intimacy she sought. We had so little time left together that there was no point to wasting any of it. I'd use it all as well as I could and keep it close to my heart.
Uncle Tsundere no longer so soon after experiencing a crisis of mortality.
Real. Let's go. The lock to the school gate had long since broken, and I easily pushed the door open. The main entrance was covered with dust. Wooden shoe cabinets were in shambles and looked as though they'd crumble at a single touch. Is the object the grandfather left the notebook?
Oh!
After that, I left her and brought us to a long wooden hallway. I raised my hand and touched the wall, feeling the roughness of the texture through my fingertips. Ron, do you smell that? I quite like the smell of this kind of wood.
Yeah, I was expecting it to smell like rotten decay. I didn't expect it to smell this nice. You like potpourri, huh?
Yeah. I know, right? My mood improved a little, and I pulled Ron into a hug. Aw.
What's the matter?
Nothing. I just really wanted to give you a hug. Ron raised her arm and embraced my shoulder as well. She was growing quickly. Since the day we'd met, she'd already grown a whole head taller than me. I pressed my head to her neck. Oh. I pressed my head to her neck, hearing the gentle pulse of Ron's heartbeat. Ron, you've got to promise me that you'll live a long and happy life, okay?
Oh, she's super dying.
Oh, no.
Of course, we'll live on happily together.
I nodded and broke the embrace. Dead stares. We passed through the hallway and came to a broken stairwell. In the recalls, I'd seen that the object had been stored in a secret compartment right next to the stairwell. That had been over 50 years ago. Hopefully no one had removed it since then. Secret compartment? Kneeling with one leg, I searched the floor and soon discovered the switch. Immediately after, I was met by a cloud of dust. As I coughed, I swept the dust aside. It ought to be right down here. Originally, the school building's plans had mandated that there only be one storage room on each floor. Afterwards, the students had felt it was inconvenience. They dug out an additional underground storage room next to the stairs. I reached out and easily found the box I'd seen in the recall.
Let me.
Ron carried the box I indicated out and placed it in the corridor. After that, she bent over and used a penknife to cut through the transparent tape binding the box. After opening up the cardboard, we found all sorts of old stationery supplies lying inside. And there, lying upon a protractor, under a protractor, was a notebook with a scarlet cover. I found it. Oh, I reached out and took the notebook. A single speck of dust stained it. Pages were perfectly white, as though they were new.
Is that what we've been looking for? Looks slightly different.
Yeah. Yep, with it, all of our problems can be solved now. Come with me. Before I'd come here, I hadn't told Ron what I wanted the notebook for. And she didn't know that my great-great-grandfather was, right now, stored within the notebook.
Oh, you can put a person in here.
That was the method he'd found for extending his lifespan. Oh, Sakura is totally our notebook.
That's why she feels comforting to touch.
Yeah. Oh, no. The moment I laid my hands on the notebook, he'd begun speaking to me. He said that he could use the notebook to engage in recall and thus experience the lives of many people. His reason for wanting to live was so that he could go to many more places in the world and see many more things. Stored in this eternally pristine notebook, he could tour the world forever, even meet me, his great-granddaughter.
Aw. On, what's that notebook able to do?
If I opened my mouth now, my great-grandfather in the notebook would surely hear. But it didn't matter. There's nothing he could do about it anyways. I've been thinking for a long time why none of the beloved children have become the new mother up until now. It must be because none of them were capable of casting their vision over the entire world the way that the mother could, instead of focusing on mere individuals.
I'm not sure I follow on. You're scaring me.
It's okay, you don't need to. Just listen to me. Besides that, the mother clearly doesn't want a non-human life form to become her successor. This is simple to understand, isn't it? Ron nodded, her grip on me strengthening slightly. In the end, if you still can't escape the position of the beloved child, then I'll need to protect you this whole time, so that you can live a full and complete life. I won't be able to because I'm about to lose my power of recall. Not to mention my lifespan itself won't permit me to accompany you the whole time. The notebook can solve all these problems. My great-grandfather seemed to have figured out what I was planning to do. He screamed into the depths of my brain, ordering me to put him back where I found him.
I still don't get how to use the notebook, though.
You don't need to worry. Just leave it to me, Ron. I found an iron barrel in the garbage pile and dragged it out to the lawn outside the schoolhouse, where I raised it above the ground by setting it upon some stones. The barrel was quite tall. I wouldn't have to worry about any sparks leaping out of the barrel that way. You're going to burn him?
Or?
Oh!
On?
Oh dear, my great-grandfather's shouting turned into weeping. He began to plead with me, telling me that he didn't want to die.
Great-grand patricide?
Me neither. I said to him quietly before tossing the notebook into the metal drum, lighting a match and setting the notebook on fire.
On?
What you doing? Relax, the notebook won't be damaged by the fire. The temperature of the barrel gradually rose, and hot air emanated from it. For some reason I started feeling like I couldn't breathe. I thought I'd already resolved myself before this, but finding my determination again, I looked up toward Ron, who was watching the flames. Her eyes reflected the bright orange light, but her expression was full of confusion. I couldn't tell her what I was planning to do until I was about to do it. She'd never go along with it otherwise.
Never told her that the notebook held a person.
Right. That we kind of killing a dude here. Mean. I waited until the terrible screaming echoing in my mind had fully faded before I poured a bucket of water into the barrel. I raised myself to my tiptoes to look at the notebook. It was completely unharmed. In fact, not a single drop of water had even clung to its pages. Taking it out, I found I'd actually gotten a bit thicker than it had previously been. Apparently my great-grandfather had ripped a few pages out at some point.
Huh. Oh, that's incredible, On. So, what is it exactly?
It's a container, Ron. It's a container that can hold absolutely anything. The most secure lockbox in the whole universe. I gently stroked the cover. Its uneven texture reminded me of the walls of the old schoolhouse. It can even contain a soul. I took out the knife that I'd prepared. Then I took Ron's hand and lightly cut open all the fingertips of her right hand. Ron was very calm and didn't resist at all.
You trust her so much.
Yeah. It's a little extravagant to use such a large knife just to make a few shallow cuts on her fingertips. Hopefully Ron won't get suspicious. Crimson blood began seeping out, and I quickly flipped to an empty page of the notebook and placed her hand onto it, letting her blood stain the pages. It worked exactly the way I'd seen it work in the recalls, just as I expected. The newly cleared notebook needed to confirm its new owner, if we could have something stored within it. Blood seeping from Ron's fingertips wasn't absorbed by the pages, but rather quickly congealed onto it, forming a bloody mark. There.
The fingerprint.
The notebook belongs to you now.
Okay, and then?
Well, what comes next is... I suddenly felt a tear flow down my face. Ron panicked a little and immediately reached to help wipe my face.
On?
Perhaps I'd overestimated my own resolve. But I didn't want to leave her just yet. I wanted to hug her again. Ron, I don't want to. There wasn't any more need for any testing anymore. Feelings I felt for her clearly couldn't have anything to do with her being the beloved child. Just wanted to keep holding her hand and stay with her. It's fine. I'm okay. Don't worry. I gave Ron a smile, and my tears obediently stopped disrupting my emotions. Ron, listen to me calmly. After this, I'm going to enter the notebook, and by placing your finger on the notebook as a signal, I'll be able to trigger it to reactivate my recall ability. There'll be a lot of limitations, but this way, you will possess a power that only non-humans can possess.
What?
Hey, shush. Keep listening. Notebook will never be damaged. Even in here, I'll be able to keep talking to you. It'll be like I'm keeping you company forever.
Talk to me, but...
Woo.
Oh.
We haven't heard her through this, have we? That solves two of the three problems we just spoke of. Finally, I need you to never concern yourself with this world. But as the beloved child who's bound to come into contact with the supernatural, I imagine you won't be able to help yourself and will try to do something anyways. So I'm going to help you out by concentrating all of your attention onto a single, small, focused point forever. Me.
Is it you?
I sat down on the ground and opened the notebook to a blank page. Ron, don't be sad. I'll always be by your side. I turned the handle of the
Light
knife.
in her eyes at that.
I turned the handle of the knife and used the blade to cut open my own neck. It hurt much more than I was expecting it to hurt. Wow, the irony of us finding Ann dead when we got here with her neck cut open.
It really hurt, didn't it?
Really?
What are you doing?
Ron kneels in front of me, grabbing onto me and trying to stop me, but I used my left hand to seize her wrist. I have to do this. I used every bit of strength I had to push the blade of the knife deeper into my neck. But at the same time, using force meant that my muscles would tense as well, and cutting them open hurt so much it made me cry. But the blood ceaselessly flowing from my arteries were instantly absorbed when they came into contact with the pages of the notebook. Even the blood that spilled onto the lawn was pulled toward the notebook as though by gravity. Seeing this gave me a measure of peace.
Ann Sakura did this too in Shibuya Crossing, but in one strike. Because unlike Ann didn't want to die.
Right. And when it came down to it, she didn't want to die.
Oh! Don't! I'm begging you, stop! I can live together with you even if you can't protect me forever. As long as we can be together, it'll be okay. I'm begging you, don't leave me. I want to be with you. Miss Sakura, please.
The blood flowed quickly. I wanted to say something, but found I didn't have the strength for it anymore. I forced myself to smile, trying to reassure her.
Miss Sakura, what'll I do without you?
That really is a fear response.
Oh.
Oh, that's concerning. The toxic even in death.
She's just got a little bit of sadism in her.
A little bit.
It's fine.
It's fine. I had always liked that particular form of address, which Ron only used when she was mentally unsteady and pleading with me. The her that was calling out to me like that was truly extremely adorable.
Oh, she's been saying this, Sakura, the whole game.
Oof.
I can't bear it. Sakura, there's no way I could...
Firmly unwell. The hand that I'd pressed to her face trembled, and I greedily immersed myself in the sensation of that last bit of warmth.
Don't, Sakura!
Ron Ibuki. Oh, my beloved.
Sakura. Ann.
The darkness before my eyes grew more and more severe. I found that I could no longer make Ron's voice out clearly. Like there was something far away, pulling me, making me come closer to it. It's probably the notebook, right? That was good. Once I died, Ron couldn't possibly concern herself with the world or whatever. Only focus on me. Definitely. For sure.
No, she actually made Ron like this.
Good night. See you tomorrow, Ron. Truly, I love you. The toxic is real.
The toxic urine.
Oh. Hi, Ron. How you doing? Oh, hey, you're in the morgue.
I'm awake.
Hell of a dream. Well, that's a hell of a
Oh?
sentence. That's a hell of a sentence. All right.
This looks like a very important choice.
Bye, Koizumi. All right, so what are we doing, gang? Well, we now know the truth. We could... We now know the truth. The Ann Sakura we've been looking for is living in our notebook.
Mhm.
The Ann Sakura of the school is... something else.
Not entirely clear, but definitely not our on.
Correct. Take a look. It's in a book. Reading Rainbow. What? Oh, hello. Ron bolted up right
Hello?
from the bed. Without a moment's hesitation, she grabbed the notebook and the weapon that had been used to kill her and nailed it to the floor.
Miss
Oh,
Sakura, I'm coming to see you now.
that's good.
Well, we
What?
the way to enter the book.
What?
That's how you enter the book.
Oh. With the right hand.
Not sure what you were expecting.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, with her right hand, she held the blade to her neck and pressed it abruptly with her left. Ron performed the same act that I'd done when I entered the notebook and severed her own neck artery, letting the blood pour out toward the notebook. So Ranakubi is the real Miss Sakura.
Mhm. Still protecting Ron from the anomalous beings
Right.
when she's unconscious.
That fits. That makes so much more sense now. Ranakubi is, in fact, Ann Sakura.
Yeah, I could tell, Ed. I am hugging you so much, Ed.
Real for that. Yep, that's...
Miss Sakura, I'm coming. Not the first time Sakura heard that.
Coughing up blood, Ron dropped the knife to the floor. With her blood-red fingers, she incessantly stroked the pages of the notebook.
Soon I'll be able to see you in here.
Her blood was entirely absorbed by the notebook. After a few minutes, her body lost its strength and collapsed in a puddle of blood, and she died once again. All right, now what? Ron opened her eyes. She was lying in her dorm room's bed with all the other students surrounding her in her room.
Son, what happened? We're all shocked when we saw at the morgue that you killed yourself.
If you really wanted to imitate me, I'd recommend you wait until you draw the culprit card yourself.
Ah, Sakura.
Ron Ibuki was stunned. She looked all around herself before finally settling on Ann's face. Oh. It was at this point that I suddenly realized with astonishment that I could no longer perceive Ron's thoughts anymore. Her internality was nothing but dead stillness.
Have they been severed?
Ooh.
I'm fine. I must have been overwhelmed by the memory of how I died the first time. Miss Sakura, are you alright?
I'm alright, of course. You?
I think I'm fine. Maybe staying here isn't such a bad idea after all.
Ron-chan, what's going on? You sounded a bit off.
Maybe you should take more time to recuperate?
Ron shook her head.
Nah, it's nothing. I was just thinking about how I've actually been having a lot of fun during my time here.
So this is the bad ending, right?
This is the bad ending.
Well, Ibuki, even though I'm not sure what kind of epiphany you've had exactly, you can do as you please. Ron nodded, laid back, and closed her eyes again. After my suicide, Ron found herself unable to bear the shock, and her mind slipped into disorder unlike anything ever before. She began consuming the pages of the notebook, believing that doing so would allow her to establish some kind of connection with me.
It was all placebo?
Even though it did have the beneficial effects to her, it also resulted in the slow disappearance of my personality. At this point, I am merely an entity which possesses Ann Sakura's memories. Mission is to protect her and to enable her to do anything she wants to do without being hindered by anybody, including myself. If she has decided that she would rather stay in this place, if she has decided to give up on finding a way to revive me, then I will not hinder her. I will always be at your side, Ron Ibuki.
Jesus Christ, that's horrific.
Oh, wow. All right. Hey. Well then.
Happy bad end.
Happy bad ending. Gosh.
This is the bad place.
This is indeed the bad place. Well.
I'm just happy in there forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until humanity wastes away, I suppose.
Also, hey, hi, Sai. I promise I'd show this. Yeah. Girl can do anything. Women can do anything.
Aya is revived 2 minutes later.
Real. Gosh. Koizumi-sensei.
Koizumi, don't do that.
I mean, honestly. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Ah, diggity dang.
Danganronpa forever. Just like those V3.
Forever. Real and true.
It's labeled epilogue.
That is labeled epilogue. Wow. Do we want to try?
Yeah. Because it looks like there's a lot of CGs there.
Yeah.
On.
I set up for the middle-framed bed. Middle-framed bed, the memories in my mind fully clarified, free of the mist that had shrouded them. Tears rolled down
not
my
Miss
face.
Sakura.
Oh, yeah. As I shook my head, I turned my trembling body toward the stand next to the middle-framed bed, where the notebook was resting. Ann was already dead. I've been traveling the world for the last 4 years for the sake of reviving her, really in the hopes of finding any sort of anomaly that had anything to do with reviving the dead. This attempt had also been a failure. The Ann here wasn't my beloved. I hugged the notebook to
Ron
my
came here on
bosom,
purpose.
my tears falling on its cover with splashing sounds, making it seem as though the notebook itself was crying as well. Even though I remained the beloved child of the mother of humanity, Ann had still achieved 2 of her goals. Not only was she always protecting me, she had also kept me eternal company. Yeah. I still wish I could embrace you.
I still wish I could embrace you.
The Eternal Murder game situation just makes me think of someone getting put in the victim situation, just going, "You dog ass," in annoyance. And she had plans that afternoon. I was supposed to go on a friggin' picnic and I had to spend it waking up in the fucking morgue. God dang it.
Come on, Yorino made ribs for dinner and I couldn't have any.
Yeah, real. I crossed my arms and gripped my shoulders tightly and lowered my head, curling in on myself, the notebook tucked into my chest, bending slightly. Sounds of my weeping echoed in the empty morgue. I struggled to calm myself, wanting to leave before the rest of them came to find me. Sniffling, I rose from the bed and unfolded the folded uniform next to me. Not only was there no blood in it, but even the hole the knife had left in it was restored. I set my phone off to the side and reached out to turn it on. That photo nearly made me start crying again, and I quickly tapped past and entered the address book to send a text to Ann.
That'll be it then.
I put on my uniform, left the morgue, and headed back to the resort that Miss Sakura and I had once checked into. Oh, memories are real. Ann looked like she didn't quite know how to react to me. Probably because I hadn't immediately pounced on her the way I always did before.
I know what you are.
So we all updated Tama. The hardship that Tama Indo experienced in the days after she survived the Great Kanto earthquake, the Yanagawara Shiahara, laid the foundation for her to write Memories of the Kanto earthquake. Deep, thought-provoking meditations on the nature of life and dedication, the book painted a striking image of the struggle to survive after the earthquake. Dresses wounds as quickly as Sai chops vegetables. Always reading such difficult books. I wonder if Ido's going to wind up writing
But she
something
took too many notes on Tama to say she's adorable, so she's the only one with a 3rd page.
Oh, yeah. If I could be said to once have been trapped in a world of impenetrable and untraversable darkness, then where Miss Sakura was the pathway that appeared beneath my feet, Indo's book was the light that dispelled the darkness. That allowed me to see the road under my feet that Miss Sakura had laid out for me. That allowed me to live afterwards. Just what kind of feelings did Tama really hold for a young mistress? I want to find out. If I'm worried that I'll find the answer terrifying. Bootsies. Adorable. Oh.
We don't know jack about Sai.
Right. Totally, Siscon. Roboros bracelet is now making me think that she's involved in this anomaly.
Were all of the anomalies that we have in our index in the notebook mentioned in the flashback?
We had the Eclipse Silkworm. We met Mr. Blood Sculptor. Yukari Ihara. Pseudonym.
Is this Sai?
Switch unclear. Ooh. Deep insight. Cordial terms with her. Sees her assistance. She sees many similarities between herself and Ron.
Are you Sai?
Hello, Astro Morticians. In the vicinity of corpses which have died of certain causes of death. Effect region, I say zero gravity. Mortuary processing. The corpse suspended midair. Determination for physical restoration. Application of makeup. Safety ropes. Demanifest.
Did the Astro Morticians come 2 seconds after On died? Could you imagine?
Honestly. It's sitting there holding her dead body in the book and just...
Under extreme emotional stress at the time.
Under extreme emotional stress, and then just 5 astronauts descending and T-posing around her. So, Astro Morticians just literally decontamination, physical restoration, application of makeup. So, it's fully restoring the corpse to like a funeral state. Still dead though. So not.
So the Astro Mortician's part was just for fun.
Honestly. Service ticket, delusory crossroads. You might be right, and this might be some sort of delusory crossroads kind of thing. Coffin of a certain person here. Using a notebook to record their conversation. But, according to this, she escaped from the delusory crossroads.
Oh, she was looking for On there.
Honestly. Did she actually have a conversation with On there? Although she used the notebook, so she may have actually had a conversation with On. Observer's ticket takes you to a scene of a major event.
He was trying to go back to On's death, huh?
Right. But distant planet outside the Milky Way. Did she go to On's home planet?
Oh!
And successfully went to On's home planet. Oh my gosh. Red Ruins.
Yeah, the Astro Mortician's just descending, going, John Madden, getting On ready for a close-up.
Ayo. John Madden, holla, get dollar. and here's the ruins that turn you communist. And Ron just went there and said,
Ron,
nope.
I'm not sure how the ruins that turn you communist would have helped you with On.
He just went there, said nope, and then just left. Bye. What do we have here? Model of 10,000 humans. Oh, the good old anatomical model, where you can look at your own particular appearance. See the models being modeled for certain distinguishable own body. Beat of the heart, movements of the eye. Models intentionally touch. The toucher will feel the same touch on the corresponding part of their body. Before the model of the 10,000, use that person's hand to take a photo. I'm going to caption that person's model. Choose great inspiration from this.
What's the significance of this one?
Feels somewhat If I had to guess, it feels somewhat relevant to the point in the flashback where Ann comes back after the getting her
right,
arm
because she
restored by
had
the
to
blood
use a lot
sculptor.
of liters of blood, didn't she?
Right. It was her blood, wasn't it? Oh, did she? Yeah, yeah. Create a serpentine creature being features from many different organisms. What happened to this?
I guess she tried to make a homunculus?
Curious. Ron definitely went back to the blood sculptor
Mhm.
after her first encounter with the blood sculptor.
The blood sculptor is so cute.
Honestly, I love the blood sculptor. Replica on, right? Honestly. It's like anatomical model on. On's real self just completely and utterly annihilated trying to recall the whole history of the world. And so she just...
An atomical model.
Yeah, yep. You are correct. Recollection. Alright. How'd we get? Alright. What is going on here? Ron, what's wrong? So she
I
spoke.
know what you are.
Yeah, as soon as she spoke, my longing for Miss Sakura redoubled itself again, and I had to raise my hands and cover my mouth to keep myself from crying out loud. Covering my memories had stripped the last vestiges of my ability to suppress my longing for me. Bit my lower lip to control my feelings. On the other hand, clenched her hands tightly together, resting them on her thighs as she pointed the tips of her toes together, all of which were completely different habits from the ones held by the true Ann.
Hey, I want to say some things to you. Maybe you won't understand, but I hope you'll listen to me.
Ann nodded, staring at me attentively, with an expression that the real her would never have shown. I furrowed my brows tightly to keep the tears from flowing out and began to speak.
After you killed me, I managed to regain most of my memories. The real Ann is already dead.
Ann seemed rather calm after she heard me say that. She didn't ask me what exactly she meant by that, or who the person sitting in front of me was in that case.
She always liked to mess with me, playing with me or jerking me around, and she was a little selfish too. For the sake of doing what she wanted, she could disregard the wishes of pretty much everybody who wasn't me, and I often couldn't figure out what she was thinking. She's smiling.
Oh.
But she truly loved me, and I her.
Bit my lip again, but it was no use. The tears had already spilled.
They're good to me as well. Are gentle and kind, and also ready to make some sacrifices for my sake, like her, and you're still alive. Perhaps you're the perfect Ann Sakura who existed only in my heart. But the Ann I loved became one with the notebook for the sake of protecting me. And though I could hear her speaking to me at first, in that state of unbearable suffering immediately after her suicide, I couldn't bear something like that. Oh, she couldn't take hearing her voice without being able to touch her.
Oh, gosh.
So I ate a massive amount of paper from the notebook, as though doing something like that would help Ann come out from the notebook. You see, that's the jump that I'm not following, Ron.
Yeah.
At the least, it helped stabilize me psychologically. And the result was that Ann from the notebook slowly began to lose herself, becoming consciousness that retained only her memories and which existed purely for the sake of protecting Ron Ibuki. But that's all secondary. No matter what the cause, as long as Ann isn't by my side, I have to keep looking for her. Even if she's already gone.
I did my best to express a determined attitude, speaking these pre-planned lines like I'd actually found any sort of resolve, but it couldn't stop the tears. I'd always been a weak and fragile person, and right there in front of me was the blood and flesh Ann. She had warmth that could embrace me, could stroke my hair and kiss me, so why did I...
Wait.
How could I...
Was that Ron's voice instead of Sakura? I've always been a weak and fragile person, and right there in front of me was etc., 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 etc. How could I, etc.?
Right.
Want to stay here so much. I sank to the floor, raising a hand and gripping tightly to Ann's wrist. I miss you so much. Ann, I want to be with you. You've suffered so much just to make it as long as I have. You are the closest I've seen in the whole last 4 years. The person that seems most like Ann. You won't suddenly collapse into a puddle of fleshy sludge or wear Ann's face only to speak with a nauseating voice. You can speak, and you're capable of loving me. I want to stay here and be with you, Ann. But I can't. But please, I'm begging you. Let me give up on you. Let me leave and keep searching for a way to revive Ann. Even if you have to turn into a monster right now or something, I'm begging you, Miss Sakura. I can't keep staying here.
Oh, okay. And she immediately flicks up the eyeball switch. I felt her bend over it. Oh.
I felt her bend over and embrace me. She embraced me so tightly, just like that final time that Ann embraced me as well.
I'm sure that Ann was very happy to have received such love from you. If it were possible, I wish I could become the Ann that you carry in your heart for you. But I can't do something like that because I have my own life as well. I do not want to become a replacement product or turn into a paltry imitation of anyone else.
That's really healthy! Ann spoke with a bit of a hitch in her voice as well. I gently pushed her away and we looked each other in the eyes.
The first time I saw you, I felt like I couldn't leave you to your own devices because you needed someone to take care of you so desperately. And you held such strong feelings for me that I felt like I wanted to respond to you somehow. I never expected that you actually didn't need anyone else to care for you. What you needed was Ann Sakura, but that's not me. I can't deceive you by disguising myself as Ann for your sake. I'm sorry, Ron. I can't fall in love with you. Oh.
Ann wiped my tears away, and I did the same as well, wiping away the tears on her face with a finger. Non-toxic Yuri!
Oh.
It was almost inconceivable how such a simple motion was able to calm me down entirely, leaving only the single tear that was sliding down Ann's finger to the back of her hand. Thank you. This is the best answer you could have given me, from my perspective. It's enough to let me set down everything here. I hope it won't leave any burdens on you either.
What will you do after this, Ron?
Where's Sai?
Where is Sai?
I'm really worried now. Whenever you don't see Sai, you should be asking, where is Sai?
Correct.
He stood up and Ann followed as well. Only then did some indecision surface in her eyes. I'm going to leave this place. It's possible that my departure may cause some changes in the fundamental nature of this place, but...
This place was clearly a realm that existed only for my sake. If I were to cease to exist here, the other girls here would also be transformed in some way as well, perhaps. It wouldn't have any impact on the outside world at all. So no matter what, the things that happened here would be meaningless.
The suffering that Koizumi-sensei and Ann Sakura went through won't have changed because of anything I did for them here. But what happens after that is also meaningless. Are you at least writing letters to your big sisters?
Right. I hope so. I don't know what exactly you mean by leaving here, but no matter where you're going, you won't forget what happened here, right? Things that you said and did for Hinata out of guilt, the way you helped Makoto change. And if you don't think it means anything to them, what about for yourself?
Me? It was true that I never attempted to make up for Koizumi-sensei, and I never even had an opportunity to get to know Asakura. But my deeds here had given me the opportunity to explore all kinds of alternative possibilities and let me understand them far more. It's like how, even though I could only watch the recalls, I was indeed experiencing them as well. Ann, is that the meaning that the power of recall brings me? I'm You're right. Maybe these events do have some meaning to me, but I'll need time to prove that. Perhaps I'll be able to see the impact of these experiences on me in time, once I depart from this place. Even if she wasn't the real Ann, she was still easily able to dissolve my confusion and give inspiration unto me. It only made my longing for Ann, which had never once receded, redouble in strength. But in a healthier way this time.
Yeah. Goodbye, Ron. I hope you can find the real Ann Sakura.
Thank you, Ann. I'm truly very happy I could meet you in this place.
Speak of,
Bye!
say her name, and she appears.
I stood at the edge of the swimming pool looking at the water. There wasn't a single ripple on it. At the moment, it was as flat as the surface of a mirror.
What is it, Ibuki? Ask her to meet privately with Sakura, then ask him to meet privately with me. Do you have something major planned, or what?
Is Sai actually the eyeball creature?
Oh, gosh.
Yorino?
Wanted to make some light conversation, maybe? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I wanted to make some light conversation or maybe crack some jokes to help break the ice, but I thought there wasn't a point. If my reasoning's right, then no matter what kind of ridiculous ideas I proposed to her, Yorino would always believe me and support me. Yorino, I've recovered the vast majority of my memories. I understand why I've come here as well as what's happened to Ann. When Ann killed herself in front of me, we were in our 3rd year of high school. I spent the 4 years after that trying to find a way to revive her, and during the period of time between my first meeting with Ann and Ann's death, I came into contact with everyone in the school in one way or another.
Except for you.
Except? Other than you. So, I'm pretty sure that right now I'm actually 22, and I met you only after Ann died, which is why there's no trace of you in the memories I've recovered thus far. Is she actually Miss Ihara?
Oh.
More importantly, in this 4-year journey, I'm pretty sure you kept me company. You must have spent those 4 years together.
You listen to me speak. Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting.
No, it's difficult because you have been narrating this the whole time. As she listened to me speak, Yorino fidgeted with my bracelet. Maybe that was how she showed her nervousness.
Why'd you have to eat so many of my pages, Freya? Honestly.
Don't eat your girlfriend that way.
Real. Buki, I'll be honest, I don't have a damn clue what the hell you're talking about. All that stuff about being 22 years old or Sakura only being dead, it doesn't matter.
Yorino smiled at me. Her expression put me at ease.
It's a bit embarrassing to say it like this, but I don't care what your plans are. Just tell me what I can help you with, and I'll help you. Like, how do I put it? I feel like if it's for you, then anything's okay. It's weird. We've clearly only just met not too long ago, but,
It's the same with me. First person I saw in the whole school was you, and you're probably the one I trust the most, too.
Wholesome music. Please tell me they get a good ending.
Whenever I found myself unsure, you always tried your best to find a way to help me. You organized the serial killing to try to cheer me up.
Honestly.
I turned and pointed at the pool and continued.
Just a little fun detective work, too.
Maybe you don't even like swimming all that much, and you've been spending all your time here to indicate something to me.
But now you're just trying too hard. I really do like swimming.
Yeah, I guess I could see that if it's you we're talking about.
God, if they really have been spending 4 years together exploring shit, then it's no wonder they have such like a
Sibling energy.
yeah.
Arno walked to my side without speaking.
It's the nonogram music again. Oh,
I've had a blast during my time here, all things considered. But it's probably about time that I take my leave. I got to meet the adorable Lindo and witness how she discovered the inspiration to write. I got to meet Miho and Aya in their youth and even help them with a relationship issue. It's a small way to repay them for all the effort they put into raising me, I suppose. I got to meet a living Asakura, and even though it was only the start, but I was able to touch her heart, and understanding how even someone as deep in nihilism as her can survive so long, as long as they find someone who can give their life meaning. I got a chance to see Koizumi-sensei slowly build her confidence, and even though there's no way I can make up for my past mistakes, there's still been shown a small glimmer of hope. Perhaps if I could enter her life more deeply, there's still a chance I could help Koizumi-sensei become the person she wants to be. It's not too late to divorce, Sensei.
Real.
And I got to see Ann. I lowered my head and cried quietly. I got to meet Ann, even though... Well, no, it's enough. I felt Yorino put a hand on my shoulder. I raised my own and placed it on the back of her hand as well. And last of all, there's you. If I've been with you for these last 4 years, then I must trust you a lot. It's the kind of person I am, isn't it? Yorino nodded, failing to hide a rare touch of gloom in her own expression. I'm looking forward to learning just how we got to know each other. I gave the back of Yorino's hand a pat. I bent and stared into the water's surface. As I remembered all the experiences I'd had with everyone here, reached out and touched the water with a finger.
Oh.
Oh, this is what she saw before!
Yeah.
In an instant, the pool turned into the starry sky.
And Sai scolded us back then, too, when we first did that. What is this?
Oh, cool, you can see it too now.
Ah.
I was correct then. I noticed it that day when I had helped Yorino clean the pool. Thank you, Yorino. Goodbye.
Oh, wait!
Yorino grabbed me by the arm, pulling me back from the water. She was very strong and almost caused me to fall.
Sorry.
It's fine. What's up with you?
I don't know, but can't you just stay here? See, I'm here, Ann's here, and everyone else is here too, aren't they? I can keep cooking your favorite foods for you, and you can stay here and keep playing detective games, right?
Is she actually the eyeball?
She might be.
Yorino, don't say something like that.
If we do know her in reality, is she some sort of extraterrestrial, just like Ann?
Oh, that makes sense. I took a step backwards, shrinking away from her, tears beginning to form in my eyes again. If I stayed here, time would surely progress as usual. We'd graduate from the school and go to some city or other and slowly grow up and eventually grow old. And I'd definitely get to be with Ann for all of that time. A future like this would be absolutely wonderful, but it's not one I can choose. It's a future where only I get to be happy. Aya and Miho would be so worried.
Real.
I bent over and cried until I couldn't breathe anymore. The real Ann died for me, and Miho and Aya will need me to take care of them after they get old, and there's another you waiting on the outside for me to leave this place. So, please don't say things like that to me. I really will lose my resolve.
All right. I won't say any more then. Get out of here and go do what you want to do.
Yorino helped me up and wiped away my tears, much more roughly than Ann did.
Oh. According to you, it's either me on the outside waiting for you. With her there to take care of you, I'm sure I won't have to worry at all.
When I wiped my tears, I laughed out loud and nodded. You're totally right. With you around, I'm sure there's nothing I need to worry about.
I took a deep breath and showed his cheerful God dang it.
We can both voice her, it's fine. I took a deep breath and showed as cheerful an expression to Yorino as I could, but all it seemed to do was amuse her. That was good enough. I turned and stepped into the stars.
Oh.
Lots of starlight appeared in the darkness, but their radiance seemed not to touch me. I raised my hand but saw nothing. I lowered my body but couldn't find my body either, just an indistinguishable blackness. All around, a vast starscape gradually appeared. They were like images on a tapestry, giving off no real illumination. I felt solidity under my feet. I was standing on the ground. I bent down and used my hands to feel the floor beneath me. I found that I was standing on a set of stairs. It seemed that if I followed these steps and advanced forward, I'd be able to reach my destination.
Stairs.
I stood up and began moving without hesitation, even though I couldn't see a single thing except the various starscape all around me. I was confident that stairs weren't always there, but rather that they would appear wherever I stepped.
Ooh.
Also trying to protect her? My footsteps echoed, but besides that, no other sounds could be heard. I couldn't even hear the sound of my own breathing. Just how much longer did I have to walk? I wondered, but felt no tedium, because I could see the ever-shifting galaxies before me and watch strange stellar bodies known and unknown to me in their processions. Here, perhaps, I could see the entire cosmos. I turned and headed towards one of those distant stars. Would I arrive there instead?
Oh,
Ron
Ibuki. Ron Ibuki.
Oh! The voice of the notebook wrote in my ear. She was warning me, reminding me not to forget the conditions that would cause me to become the mother of humanity.
Not to forget.
It's okay. I concentrated my attention to my feet and tried to run downwards. Soon I'd left the stars behind, high up in the sky where they belonged. Then the sound of the revolving stars rose again. There was something approaching me, but I ignored it and kept descending.
Don't become Maguka. Is the eyeball creature the mother of humanity?
Oh! Don't forget, don't become Maguka.
Ron Ibuki, would you give control of your body to me?
No worries, I'll handle it. Oh, her eyes changed color.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
Hi. Oh, you're not slouching this time. Something massive appeared at my side, its head taking up nearly my entire vision. It had no ocular organs, but it was quite obvious that it was watching me. Hi.
Why do you insist on departing? All of your most important memories, all of these people for whom you care the most, are all fully gathered here. The intellectual games of which you are so fond, a life balanced on the edge of danger and excitement. How can you yet remain dissatisfied?
Our Danganronpa each other because Ron thinks it's fun.
Right. Intellectual games, murder, all the most significant people in Ron's life. Mother of humanity is saying, hey, my beloved child, here's all the neat things I see you like in your head. Here you go.
I see Danganronpa's pretty popular with the kids.
Yeah. Here you go. Here's a girlfriend for you. Here's your mom's. Here's that girl you stand who...
Here's the teacher you might have had a crush on, except this time she has a crush on you.
Correct. Yeah. Ann Sakura. She too is in this place. Yeah, this is the mother of humanity trying to get us to become the next mother of humanity.
Huh. Its voice was emotionless, and its head had no muscles with which it could express emotions. But clearly it was in despair. Its words were that of pleading. Pleading emoji.
Oh.
Thank you for letting me see on, and letting me confirm again the strength of my feelings. I have to leave this place and keep searching for a way to bring on back no matter what.
I implore you to help me escape the path of the lost. Borrow the aid of the mother of humanity. Oh, okay. And help me return to my homeland.
So this is an alien that just happened to kidnap her because she is irresistible.
Right. Okay, that's
Because Ron is so sexy to every alien ever.
correct.
I looked up at the entity's core, at the spiral galaxy contained therein, and thought that I saw it had an expression similar to mine. Perhaps it had always been trying to convey its feelings, just in a different way from what we were used to.
can no longer sustain my form. I trapped you in this location to attract the attention of the mother. Or perhaps you, after you replace her, can lend me what aid you can. We know how the mother feels about. We know how the mother feels about extraterrestrials.
Hyper racist.
Hyper racist.
The mother won't bother herself with me. She has far too much time and can afford to keep waiting as long as she needs. Deadbeat. You shouldn't put your hopes in me. I will not become the next mother. You should wait for the next beloved child.
What if becoming the mother would allow the revival of Ann Sakura? Okay, now you're just getting desperate.
Well, that's just reversing the means and ends. What I need is not just a living Ann Sakura, but to be able to be together with Ann.
It really would just be a reversal of what happened with Ann.
That would be Magukaing.
Really? It's just Ron ascends and Ann revives to live a full lifespan.
This alien wants to be Q-based so bad.
Real, huh? Yeah.
The sound of revolving... Oh,
sorry. The sound of revolving stars slowly weakened.
The entity continued hovering before me, but it didn't seem to want to speak again.
It's pouting.
Soon, spots of starlight began appearing before me again in the darkness. But different from before, I felt like my whole body was soaked with water, as though I was under the sea, not interrupting my ability to breathe easily, of course. Seemed as though I would arrive soon. Would you tell me your name?
I have no name that your language can speak. From the mouth of the first human I encountered, I learned of the true nature of your language. He named himself a poet of Thrace and sang for me, but he bestowed no name upon me.
Huh. I see. I'll come up with a name for you. Wait.
A poet of Thrace? Orpheus?
If this is supposed to be a dream of Ron's ideal, that is a dream of a lotus eater.
Oh. No matter what, don't forget me. You possess the power, and please help me.
Yeah, the aliens did a lot for us.
Yeah, they really emotionally helped us. Yeah.
Thank you for giving me the chance to meet them. I won't forget. Not that I won't help you. I will help you. I raised my hand, wiping aside the invisible fluid before my eyes, as a beam of dim light appeared not far away.
Don't look back. This really is Ron Ibuki escaping the underworld.
Yeah. This beam of light shone on me in truth. By its luminance, I could see my fingers. It was real light.
Oh.
I couldn't help but speed up and run forwards, reaching out and frantically brushing aside the rest of the star-draped fluids. Suddenly, I couldn't help but cough as my previously free breathing suddenly became obstructed. I reflexively opened my mouth, but only felt water rushing down my throat. I realized I was experiencing asphyxiation, no, drowning. Just like Ann Sakura, for real.
Right.
I raised my hands, trying to find the surface of the water to take a breath, but all of those efforts were met with failure. I struggled, accompanied only by the sound of the bubbles.
If only we had a very confident and strong swimmer friend out here who could possibly...
Nope, there was another sound.
Ibuki!
I reached desperately towards the sound. By then, the water in my trachea had all 3 times filling me with torment. At the same time, the starscapes that could be seen through the liquid finally began to recede from my field of vision, leaving only infinite darkness around me.
Don't panic. I've got you. Ouroboros bracelet!
It's a bracelet!
It's her!
From my wrist, I felt a firm sensation of contact, and of something solid but engraved rubbing against my skin.
Gonna pull you out
shooting
now.
Bracelet!
Yeah!
It was dragged by the force on my wrist forwards at incredible speed. I felt the water slicing past my face. pain on my skin at that moment made me feel as though I was being newly born. After that, I seemed to break through some kind of membrane. Finally, fresh oxygen appeared before me at last. Forcing away the fluids prevented me from breathing.
Happy birthday, Ron.
Taking deep breaths, I looked around, trying to figure out where I was.
Ooh.
Oh! Ron's hair's a little longer.
Oh.
You're...
Oh.
Oh!
Oh, wow.
Yorno, who is clearly a few years older, was standing before me. She embraced me with joy and surprise on her face.
That is certainly a tear in reality. Are you okay?
Oh, her hair's shorter. Yorno. That's how I remember everything now, and I'm not going to tell the audience.
Right. Eh? Oh, so you lose your memories once you go inside, huh? But it was pretty fast, all things considered. Only took you 3 hours to come out. I was all but ready to pitch a tent to wait for you and everything.
Oh, an hour per chapter.
Well,
Looked up. The sky
makes
was
sense.
dark, and the stilling rains were still falling, as was entirely reasonable.
Are you immune
Like a
too?
middle finger at the sky. F you, Mom.
Right. So Yorno's immune too. Yorno hadn't got wet for the rain. Her bracelet!
Oh!
It seems like her bracelet was still working properly. Every time it rained, I always worried about whether the bracelet would decide to betray us.
Besides sister was an alien? Assuming that the bracelet was a memento from her.
Right.
Or unless the bracelet itself is an alien?
An alien artifact or something that she dug up from the ocean.
Oh, but it probably contains her sister's soul, the same as how the notebook contains Ann's. That's why she can still hear her voice.
Oh, when she dives deep enough. She's got the bracelet on. Yeah, you're right.
Yorno, can you help me up? My legs are a bit sore.
No problem. Here we go. Oh.
Yorno pulled me free from the space-time egg, and then let go before immediately embracing me at the waist and lifting me into her lap. Are we going to get information on the okay, I guess not?
So, how was it? You feeling okay?
I'm feeling so normal. I shook my head and clung to her neck.
I'm feeling so normal, affectionate.
I met the you from high school while I was in there. Yorno nodded as she cleaned my hair with one arm.
Yeah, it's about the way I looked when we first met. I was still in high school back then, while you'd already graduated.
She's our kohai!
Oh!
He looked around before gently giving me a pat on the back.
Pat pat. Not seeing Sakura anywhere. No good on this one either?
I clutched at Yorno's back, trying to hold the tears back. I saw her. It was really a lot like Ann, you know, but she wasn't the same person.
I see.
Yorno pressed the back of my head to her shoulder with gentle force, her way of indicating that I could relax. She never asked unnecessary questions and didn't spend a lot of words on reassuring me. It might have seemed a bit cold of her, but I knew that she could always understand how I felt. They're probably in the same boat, right?
Right. And you still managed to make the decision to leave, huh? It must have been hard. Forget this for now. Let's go back to the hotel and take a break. Then you can tell me the things you saw.
I nodded, feeling a lot better already, and stood up straight, leaving Yorno's grasp. Yorno, by the way, how's your little sister doing? Still dead? Yorno was about to go wheel her parked motorcycle over, but she paused in her tracks when she heard me asking about her little sister.
Why are you bringing that up now?
After I entered, my memories were heavily scrambled. Wanted to make sure that my understanding of the past is still aligned with yours.
Oh, well. You helped cure her, remember? Now she's able to see things other than myself again. Her illness has stopped worsening, and I'm sure that one day she'll get better for good.
Whoa.
Huh.
Ah, that's good then. Okay, so she's not dead. Then what's with the bracelet? Her illness was that she couldn't perceive anyone but Yorno?
Curious.
Can we know his profile again?
Oh, sorry. Oh, due to certain conditions, her sister only eats size cooking.
That is a condition.
That's why. Huh. Two of them have been apart for a long... What is this, then? What is... She can
What
almost
is
hear her
that?
sister's voice. Sai's younger sister dreamed of going to Tokyo, but at some point, she got monogataried. And could only
That's
see...
a good way of putting it.
Huh. Very curious.
That happens in a fairy tale once. There was a prince cursed to not be able to hear any woman except the nymph who fell in love with him.
Oh.
It's a pretty interesting one.
What, you're worried that I'll stop hanging out with you once my little sister's fully cured?
Wait, oh my god, their shirts are matching!
Yeah.
As if.
Relax. And Sai promised I'd repay you for your help. I'd stick in with you until you get Sakura back.
Oh, the Thanatonic Muse's influence has disappeared. What?
Ooh.
We can review everything!
Ooh.
Thanatonic
Baby.
Muse.
Ah! Oh. Oh? Are you okay? Game?
Is the game okay?
No. Oh dear.
Did it freeze?
It is just completely unresponsive now. Well, this is awkward. Interesting.
Well, our mistake for trying to get more information.
Fair enough. All right.
Would it break the dramatic tension too much if we just closed it, restarted, and skipped?
Close the game? Oh, well, that still works.
Why does that still work? What if you press the escape key?
Escape.
There is no escape.
Mash all the buttons. Nothing happening. Okay, very good. All right. Well then, let's sure. Everything is fine.
It's a 2-person dev team and they did their best.
Truly. All right. Well, let's see here. Let's. All right. Game is real again.
Okay.
We left off. Wow, we got a lot to get to here. Okay.
It's okay to the skip function.
Yeah, here we go.
Yum.
Oh no. I'm so glad she's a good bean.
Yeah.
Went to bed now. Sleep. Good sleep. Oh, hello. You turned off my skip function.
Good night, Chris. I
Good night,
thought that you were
Chris.
going to bed hours ago.
Yeah, honestly. Sleep, Chris. Sleep well. And freedom.
Oh, God.
No.
What do you mean
Oh,
it
no.
skips on red text too?
Oh, mistakes were made.
Okay, so we gotta skip so delicately.
Let's
Why does it do that?
let's try that again.
Why would it ever do that?
Mean to us. All right. What? That game just exploded. Ew? Yeah, that game just fucking exploded. Alright. Don't explode, please, game. There we go. It. Making sure that's still going. Alright, let's try this again. Let's actually skip red. This all is not checked here. Alright.
But Dawn, after all of that pings as red.
Shoot, you're right. Alright.
We need to be so delicate with this.
Real. Hello then. Hello there.
And maybe make a save before checking the notebook again.
Yeah, so we don't detonate. Alright, I'll just mash the mouse at this point in time. Alright. It's really hard to turn off the skip function. There she is. Alright. Ready.
Oh yeah, would you like the copy of the fairy tale that I was talking about? It's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
Woman learns the power of just plain lying.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. Alright.
Of course I trust you. I know you'll always look out for me.
Let's save in the proper place this time.
It's Ron looking super cool.
Yeah.
Yarno shied back away from me as though she'd seen something disgusting and shrunk her shoulders in. Aww.
Gonna make a wild comparison? Oh, hi, Twin. We're in the epilogue now. You missed a metric ton, Twin. Holy crap.
In the epilogue of the epilogue.
Yeah. We have learned the truth of everything in this game. Except for Sai's bracelet.
Thanatonic Muse's influence has disappeared. What is the Thanatonic Muse?
Right. Alright, we saved. Just in case the game explodes on us. Honestly, the comparison that's on the tip of my tongue here with their Sai, I love that Sai's and Ron's outfits are matching now. It also makes me think of, like, Chaldy outfits. From Fate Grand Order. Those are totally Mystic Code core.
Yeah.
Alright, let's explore here. Let's go to characters first, so we don't explode. Alright, we haven't updated this yet.
I guess Sai's was the only one that was updated.
That's fair. Sai.
Everything's the same here.
Okay, there's no... Next page. A certain day, Sai's younger sister suddenly lost the ability to perceive anything other than Sai herself. Ron was able to save Sai's sister by utilizing the Devourer of Self to transplant the anomalous effect onto Sai.
You what?
Devourer of the... Whoa.
Wait, it transplants the effect. Is Sai unable to see anyone except Ron?
That's a terrifying prospect. Sai... Huh. It transplant the anomalous effect onto Sai instead. So if it's like null itself out, if it the target, the source and destination of the effect are put on the same person?
Maybe?
To repay Ron for her help, though, Sai decided to help her find a way to resurrect Ann Sakura. Portrait. And still totally cis-con. Very handsome face. Very strong arms. Alright, let's try and,
Please.
Flip
Yes.
Silkworm, yeah. Your terms restored.
Still got memory loss.
And after they ran and suffered a total eclipse of the sun, Cocoon. Still got memory loss. Exact nature. Continuously feed her an unknown nutrient. 7 days, Cocoon. Spontaneously disappeared. Area around Ron suffered a total eclipse. Lasted 24 hours. No irregularities found. Golden delivery service. Ron has been obligated 3 times to personally restore them to their natural state of existence. And okay, killed by a certain method, the state they were in 1 hour prior to dying. Understandable why she would try that. Blood sculptor. Many different organisms, that's...
All the gaps due to her memory loss haven't been filled.
Right. Miss Ihara. Yep.
Anything on the next page?
Astro Morticians, and no. Let's see if the next page explodes. Oh, hey, it works.
Oh, lots.
Lots and lots. Okay, Mother of Humanity. During the formation of the solar system, and after the collision of the planet Theia and the Earth, Mother of Humanity, a disembodied consciousness, was born upon the Earth. Her reactivity to stimulus caused the frequent tectonic motions of the Earth. Afterwards, due to the influence of the Mother, the planet gradually cooled. At the end of the primordial epoch, she caused the seas to become an organic soup that allowed life to be born. With the continual evolution of life forms, the Mother's will evolved as well. She gained the ability to think when humanity was born and began directing the course of human history consciously. However, after the Industrial Revolution, the Mother of Humanity found that keeping humanity away from the supernatural was growing more and more difficult. At the same time, humanity no longer seemed to require the Mother's protection. Mother has grown tired, and thus began seeking out human candidates who could replace her as the consciousness of the planet.
Is that empty nest syndrome?
Oh, it really does. My kids are so big and so scary. I'm tired. I want to go home. Relatable. This would also make a really...
A beloved child, that's me.
Yeah. It's also like a really compelling plot to a Shin Megami Tensei game.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it pretty much is Strange Journey.
I think that Ron should be allowed to summon demons.
Honestly, correct. I feel like she may have, to some degree.
True.
Based on everything she's encountered, Mother of Humanity will, through her subjective judgment, choose a single human to become the beloved child. The beloved child is the only person on Earth who can encounter supernatural phenomena without having their memory subsequently removed by the stilling rains. At the same time, the beloved child will become incomparably alluring to all anomalous phenomena. When the beloved child of the mother no longer focuses on mere individuals, but rather places her attention on the world as a whole, she will become the consciousness of the planet and allow the Mother of Humanity to detach herself from Earth. In actuality, even if the Earth didn't possess a planetary consciousness, no real issues would come of it. Despite growing bored with humanity, the Mother simply cannot bring herself to leave humanity to its own devices, which has caused her to seek out candidates who can continue to protect humanity in her stead.
We gotta kill God.
Ah, right. So right. Places her attention on the world as a whole. So that's why Ann was warning her as she was sort of traipsing through the cosmos to go back home.
They focused entirely on.
Right. Stilling rains. Liquid life form from the planet Theia, capable of storing the consciousness of other organisms within its own body. After Theia and the Earth collided, these organisms were also brought to Earth, after which the Mother of Humanity reproduced her own will and imprinted it upon the rains. Whenever a human encounters supernatural phenomena, these liquid life forms will descend from the sky in the form of rain and parasitize the human in question, causing them to faint and erasing their memories of the encounter with accordance of the will of the Mother. At the moment, approximately 5% of all humans have been infected with this organism. That is honeycomb amnesia syndrome? A counterfactual disease. When humans noticed this phenomenon of widespread amnesia and fainting, they named the unknown cause of the phenomenon an idiopathic syndrome. Humans who have been parasitized by the stilling rains have their memories before and after the rains are removed, causing them to forget the rains entirely. Furthermore, since the excess rain organisms retreat underground after their task is complete, no evidence is left to be found. Because of this, humanity is under the misconception that there is no shared factor between the widespread amnesia events, that it's a disease that cannot be controlled. The syndrome was given its name because all of its sufferers lose memories at the same time period, like multiple honeycombs which have suffered damage to the same cells simultaneously.
Huh. Wait, there's a third page.
Don't explode. Don't explode. Whoa.
Pudding!
Infrasonic pudding. What is this?
I want to eat.
Oh, that's the green
May
goop.
want bite.
That's the green goop from the flashback. All right. Infrasonic
Oh.
puddings are masses of infrasonic vibrations around 15 hertz in frequency. Externally, they appear as 15 meter tall, 30 meter wide green masses. Because they appear as solid masses, only direct contact with the pudding has any anomalous effect. Infrasonic puddings appear all over the galaxy and tend to disappear after 2 hours after manifesting. Furthermore, all infrasonic puddings which manifest share the exact same wavelength no matter their time and position. Currently, their goals and origins are unclear. However, whenever infrasonic puddings appear, stratum whales are also invariably found as well.
They are just harmless little slime fellas that the mother of humanity is crazy racist against.
Real. Okay, what is a stratum whale? We're given their name because they appear identical to humpback whales while on Earth. However, on other planets they can take completely different forms altogether. Stratum whales are capable of living in the gaps between any two strata or layers, whether those layers are physically material layers or merely abstract concepts. In the gaps they use bubble hunting methods similar to that used by humpback whales to capture and consume materials, concepts floating in their gap, quickly expelling them after a quick digestion process that has little impact on the layers. Ron once attempted to track down the most recent appearance of an infrasonic pudding on Earth, planning to use it to help track down a nearby stratum whale. The plan was to use the stratum whale to enter the gap between life and death to try to find Ann Sakura there. Is that this? Sapient tensor?
It does have a water theme.
Yeah. Water theme, space between life and death. She very much traversed a gap between two realms and met a big thing in there. Sapient tensors are highly aggressive organisms which can freely change between various forms of matter. However, they cannot control their transformations and only change under the influences of other consciousnesses. Physical interference is ineffectual on sapient tensors. Only the mind affects them. For example, when tensor forms are surrounded by highly excited minds, they transform into continually expanding flammable gases. While being surrounded by depressed minds will cause it to transform into a highly dense silver metal. That explains a lot. Besides that, thoughts of nearby higher life forms will also influence the exact form they take upon. However, if nearby minds are strong enough, they can also directly slay the tensor in question, cause it to transform into unique forms of matter, such as supersolids or superconductors, etc.
Is this the thing that ate Ron's arm?
Yes. The specific states of matter. I think that's the clear reference point there.
Really rude of them.
Honestly. Help me. Oh. Alright. What's the Thanathotic Muse? Oh.
Oh, this is what we were trapped in.
Yeah. Yep, space-time eggs. The Thanatotic Muse is not the Thanathotic Muse. It's a 2,100 meter long molluscoid organism currently located on the coast of the island of Thasos. Very weak life signs. 20,000 years ago, it landed alongside an asteroid in the Aegean Sea, upon which fell into a near-death state, until it was brought to the Azore Islands by a volcanically induced tsunami.
Oh, it wasn't hidden about it being slowly dying.
Right. Countless space-time eggs grow from the underside of the Thanatotic Muse, and peering into their membranes reveals their interiors resemble spiral galaxies. The Thanatotic Muse can control space and time within any of these eggs, and Ibuki's experiences were the result of it recreating people that Ron knew of, from all across in space and time within the egg that Ron occupied. Its goal was to create an ideal space that Ron would be unwilling to leave, in the hopes that she would eventually ascend to becoming the new mother of humanity while still trapped within the egg, and thus gain the ability to help the Thanatotic Muse return home.
Oh.
Reasonable.
Oh, so the eye thing wasn't an eye. That's why Ron said that it doesn't seem to have any ocular organs. It was a fish egg.
Wow, yeah, just a giant massive fish. Yeah. Molluscoid.
Why do fish eggs look like eyes?
I was trying to come up with a witty answer to that, and I'm completely blanking out.
It's simply too cursed.
Right. Yep. What do we consider? Like the appendage of it that was just poking its head into Ron's bedroom inside the egg. It's
Head full of egg?
A head full of egg, yeah. Just like reaching a hand in, brimming with eggs, and just high Are you ready to become the mother yet?
I too am a mother.
Yeah. Look at all my kids. Don't you want to help them go home? Please help.
It's so hard being a single mom.
Honestly. This is... Oh.
Serpents. Ouroboros?
Oh. Okay, never mind. Alright. The self-devourers are a pair of black-scaled serpentine organisms, 61.8 centimeters in length, possessing high-level intelligence. The self-devourers possess the ability to transfer concepts or properties from one object to another object. Two snakes each represent the origin and endpoint of the transfer, respectively. When the devourers decide to use their special ability, their bodily length will change based on their target, allowing them to encircle the targeted origin and endpoint objects in the form of Ouroboros rings. Furthermore, when they initiate a conceptual or property transfer, the concept or property itself will be altered depending on the devourer's intent. Ibuki placed one of the devourers each on Sai Yorono and her little sister in order to transfer Sai Yorono's sister's anomalous condition onto Sai. Result, Sai has become capable of physically perceiving or interacting with her little sister. A mission that will persist until Sai's death.
Oh!
Oh.
Well, what if they take the devourers off? Would that change? Would she?
Like they're fully sentient rings.
Wearing real snakes on her wrist.
Right. We still don't know what the heck she made with the blood sculptor. Okay. That's a lot of information to take in. Resave. Alright. Buki, your heartfelt confession is making my skin crawl, you know that?
You'll grow past your tsundere nature someday. But don't get your bike already. I, on the other hand, have regrown my tsundere nature.
Oh, appreciate that.
Yorno laughed as she jogged towards her motorcycle. I took the opportunity to open the notebook and turned it to the page where I kept notes about useful leads on reviving the dead. Let's scratch the Thanatotic news off then. Explain stratum whales. Since I said that, a line drew itself across the Thanatotic Muse entry on its own. Oh, fine, there are still plenty of leads to follow up on. Lots of hope left. Thanks, Ann.
Thanks, Ann.
Just then, Yorno pulled her motorbike up next to me and spoke.
So, where do you want to go next, Ibuki?
And close the notebook. A few different locations appeared in my mind, but I didn't have to think long before rejecting all of them.
Since when we were a biker gang? Honestly, this is us in reality. We were a biker gang this whole time.
We're so cool. Now let's go back to Japan first. I want to visit Miho and Aya and Koizumi-sensei.
Koizumi-sensei!
In contact with Koizumi-sensei!
Oh!
Yorno nodded, and after putting her helmet back on, turned the motorcycle back in the direction we came.
Give us a motorcycle CG.
I looked down, watching as the wheels kicked up dirt, and thought about the way that Miss Sakura and I had brushed off the mud on our shoes before entering the gymnasium, just a few days ago.
This is the tunnel.
Aww.
This was the tunnel that the first chapter ended, or that the prologue ended on.
Yeah, Miss Sakura. Putting myself on Yorno's shoulders, hopped on the back seat of the motorcycle and hugged her waist tight. The heat of the motorcycle engine and the warmth of Yorno's back filled me with courage. I turned my head and looked back at the giant mass, which stretched the length of the coast. Compared to its size, the storms were nothing but a thin veil. The rainwater and my tears forced me to narrow my eyes, but I still wanted to get a good look of it before I departed, so I pulled up my shoulder, wiping my face on the wet, water-resistant fabric to clear my vision. Goodbye, Indo, Ann Sakura, Ann. Motorcycle CG!
Yeah! So many holes in the sky. Good lord.
Big.
Oh wow, yeah. Well,
Yeah, bleeding a lot.
Oh, that's not the sky. That is the Thanatonic Muse. It is bleeding.
Yeah.
Oh, so many eggs. And all of them are bleeding. Okay. Oh. Lighthouse. Hello, lighthouse.
There's one inside, that little dot down there.
Yeah. When I said I wanted a motorcycle CJ, I was hoping for something a bit more wholesome. But I'll take it. There it is. There it is. Thanatonic Muse.
Does the Ibuki and Sakura subtitle mean that they're planning more of the series?
Ooh.
Man, I hope so.
Man, I hope so.
It seems right for it, you know?
Yeah. When we see if this progresses automatically, if I need to click. Knock, knock. Go game.
Any credit sequence?
Okay, I clicked.
Oh.
And we're fading out. Ah!
Oh, music loud.
Music loud. Oh, there's everybody!
Hey. What do the lines mean? Ron, did you just want to make a conspiracy board but didn't know how?
Yeah. Oh, hey, there's the... Oh!
Oh,
Look at them!
cooking!
Copy pasting my documents early on. Oh! That's cute. Oh,
Oh,
Miho played the harmonica.
they're so sweet.
Yeah.
A little different in chibi form.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, they are in love.
All right. Oh, back to the beginning.
Game's good.
Game's good. All right. Woo-wee. Yep. Yep, that covers it. There they are. There they are. There's a lighthouse for comparison. Good lord. Wow.
You know what other game has a lighthouse in it? Go check out Dawn's visual novels.
Aw. I'm still slowly but surely working on another one with a lighthouse in it. Yeah.
Hang on, I am trying to pull up the itch link.
Oh no. Itch, please cooperate. I believe.
My Wi-Fi, it's...
Oh.
There we go.
Ah. There it is. Thank you. Oh,
A terrific lighthouse.
it is a lovely. It is a really lovely lighthouse in that. That was beautiful art in that. I love that.
Mhm.
Ah. I'm slowly but surely planning and working on another one involving a lighthouse. from the inside this time. So, involve. Now with further inspiration, because, gosh, this was really cool. Game's good. Game's really good.
Yeah. Second game when?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Please. I
Come
am
on.
starving.
Come on, Orca. Give us more of this delicious
Delicious eggs.
delicious eggs. So many eggs. Just slam me right in that cosmic egg. Oh, God. That's just... Oh, my God. Just the delightful... What a delightful series of characters we got. But
Yeah.
just... God, what a fascinating world around us, too. I still have one missing CG there. I don't know what on earth that could have been, but it's a matter for tomorrow's dawn. But what a utterly fascinating world they put together here. Even amidst all the lovely characters and wholesome and less wholesome Yuri involved here. That just, wow. They really delivered on just all of the mysterious stuff that they were sprinkling through the whole time, didn't they? And even with that final...
Yeah, there were hints about the truth of the matter all game.
Yeah. God, just... In a weird way, it really did come full circle. In a weird way. Like, we woke up there in the... just storage room below the school. Which is where we came back to with Ann to find her, her great-grandfather.
Mm-hmm. Who she did burn to death.
That was kind of fucked up.
Girls can do anything.
Girls can do anything. God forbid a girl try and... God forbid a girl try and propose to her girlfriend by putting herself in a book.
And then she got eaten.
Yeah.
Oh, the developer actually does have a second game coming out, but not sure if it's related to Chrono Jotter.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. It's titled Raining City Millions Recollections. Rain, you say?
Rain, you say? Yeah, that's... We know quite a bit of rain involved here. That on its own is just a fascinating concept. Just, oh, something supernatural's about here, so we're just gonna...
Even if it's literally just a pudding.
Yeah. Raining City, Billion Recollections. One night, Sean woke up soaked in blood. A mysterious black hole in the palm of her hand, and millions pouring out of that hole like an unstoppable fountain of wealth. Oh boy. Ooh. Monster. Girl with a gun.
Free money.
Oh. Alright, that's cooking. Oh, I don't know much about the characters here. Not yet. Got a fascinating monster involved there. Strange world that breaks all conventions. Meet humans and non-humans. Try to befriend them to help with their plight. Island city of Stage is modern and prosperous. It could be similar. I hope it's similar. I need more.
Yeah.
Need more of them. Okay. Gosh, game's good. I'm
Game's
still
so good.
I'm still so happy that Yono turned out to be good at the end.
Yeah.
That's, and even, God, even the resolution with the, like, we almost recalled with Ann here, seeing her perspective of her memories with Ron, recalling that she wasn't nearly as perfect and fully put together as the Ann in the school was, or was trying to be, or we were projecting the perfect Ann onto her, and she was just kind of rolling with it. Because, hey, that's neat. That glimpse into the real Ann was really cool. It's... Game's good.
Yeah. They were messy girls, but they were in love.
Yeah. They're messy girls, but that's life. That's... They're just well and truly messy. Life is just well and truly messy sometimes, but it's all about, well, how you do your best with it all. Alright, let's... Alright, let's let them... Wish them well on their way to their next adventure.
Yeah. Good luck with the whales.
Good luck with the whales.